by
Yeah,
Schefter.
premature staculate. Sometimes the premature stats are more potent.
He can't keep it in. He can't keep it. He's just the Stafford was just too hot. So he had to release a stat. Babe,
was
you're just so hot. It's not you. It's not you. Yeah. Yeah. On today's Pardon My Take, we have an awesome interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Probably a lifelong dream for me and PFT to get him on the show. It was via Zoom, but I think we have a future date where we're maybe going to go to LA and lift with him. So very, very fun interview. I just had a smile on my face the entire time. We're also going to do picks and preview for week 17. It's just me and PFT again, because it is a vacation week. It's going to be abbreviated. We're going to fire through the games. So we're ready to roll. We have the Arizona Bowl. We're both in Arizona right now. We're the Arizona Bowl on Saturday. Tune in, 2:00 Mountain Time, 4:00 Eastern Time, Barstool.tv and the CW. We're going to be on TV, but we got a great show for you. We're going to do a extra hot seat, cool throne, because we didn't have a show on Wednesday. Fyre Fest of the week. And let's get into it. Let's get into everything. We have Joe Flacco. We're going to talk Thursday Night Football. So no ad. We have more ads coming, but no ad to start. So, okay, let's go. Welcome to Pardon My Take. Today is Friday, December 29th, and PFT, Joe Flacco is elite.
He is fucking elite, and the Cleveland Browns clinch a playoff spot. And watching this game, the thought occurred to me, what if we had a Browns-Lions Super Bowl? How cool would that be?
Well, we'd be out of a lot of money. That's what we'd have. Yeah.
I'm willing to sacrifice that just for the good of America. I think our country needs something like that, the battle for Lake Erie.
I think we're also in a spot where, like, that's getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. If we just get Stafford versus the Lions and Flacco versus the Ravens, that would be pretty nice. Like, in terms of storylines and drama. Yeah. One thing at a time. Let's go baby steps to that. But yes, the Browns clinch a playoff spot. Good for them. Incredible season. They've been like the most injured team, it feels like. And like we've talked about it pretty much every single week, the roller coaster of their season, where they've had big win followed by big injury, followed by big win, followed by big injury over and over and over again. Joe Flacco is their starting quarterback, and I feel so much more confident about the Cleveland Browns in 2023 than if Deshaun Watson had played the whole season. I can't believe I'm saying that sentence, but I fully believe it. Like, I think, Joe, if you're a Browns fan and you know the history of your franchise and you know how this season has gone, Joe Flacco, with how he's playing right now, is the perfect guy for this, because you can basically say to yourself, like, what if he just gets hot? He's done it before. What if he just gets hot? We know that he can do it. Why not with this team?
And he's hot right now. He's so hot. And there was one very funny moment. I don't know if you're watching the Prime Vision broadcast, but our good friend Sam Schwartzstein, he started doing like a picture-in-picture talking about Joe Flacco, whether or not he's elite. He's like, yes, by our advanced metrics, they created like all these advanced sabermetrics to determine whether or not a quarterback is elite or not. And then Sam is like, we've debated this for, it feels like 12 years now, but I can say that right now, Joe Flacco, yes, he is an elite quarterback. Half a second later, he does the pick six where he's falling backwards and like two pump fakes, gets taken back to the end zone. It was a very funny moment on live TV. But the way that Flacco is playing right now, and he did it today without Amari Cooper. So last week,
yes,
Amari Cooper set records in terms of like how many yards he had. He was just like dominating every single ball in the air. And then this week, it's like, you know what? I'm just going to throw the ball to David Njoku 100 times in the first half, and we're not going to miss a beat. And yeah, the Browns, like, I put a bet on them about a month ago, 50-1. I'm feeling better about that bet than I'm about my Bills bet right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Browns are hot, and it is really just like, when you talk about hope, it's Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco he trades in hope, because you know that he has that in him somewhere. He is that guy. That's the whole conversation about when he got the big contract, when he won the Super Bowl, everything. He is that, like, there is that guy inside of him And there's a lot of quarterbacks in the league who might be better like week to week or more consistent, but they don't have that thing where you're like, but what if he just gets hot? It's a very Eli Manning-esque thing. And I was actually thinking about it, like, what if Joe Flacco wins? If Joe Flacco wins the Super Bowl with the Browns, he has to be a Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah,
Has to be.
100%. And it'd be perfect too. Former Baltimore Raven winning a Super Bowl with the Browns. The Baltimore Ravens used to be the Cleveland Browns, took the franchise, then Cleveland takes Baltimore's quarterback and wins one. That would be awesome.
Yeah. It's set up perfectly. So I'm excited for the Browns in the playoffs.
I have a question for Max. Max, as an Italian, why don't you show Joe Flacco the respect that you show Tommy DeVito?
Flacco doesn't sound as Italian as DeVito does.
That's true. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His name ends in a vowel.
His name does end in a vowel.
But Tommy DeVito sounds like a more Italian name. It just
sounds like a fuck boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Joe Flacco, is Joe Flacco in the Italian American Sports Hall of Fame? He should be.
He absolutely should be. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I guess he's like too steady, too even keeled. We need to celebrate Italians like Joe Flacco just as much as we celebrate Italians like Tommy DeVito. That's all I'm saying.
I'd agree. Okay. So let's get into the picks and preview for week 17. So to set the stage, we are, like I said, this is technically a vacation week. So we're on Zoom. Hank and Jake are not here. We're on Zoom, not Riverside. So it sounds shitty. Tweet at PFT and blame him because his computer had a corrupted file, which PFT, you weren't there for the very funny moment of Max and Evan and I were sitting on the Riverside waiting for you. And you texted me and Max being like, Max, it says there's a disk server corrupted. And Max and I were just like, Max doesn't know anything about computers. Like nothing.
Yeah, I know. I had to tell somebody, and I knew, like, what am I going to do? It'll be like, hey, Big Cat, my computer has a corrupted disk error right now. I knew that you had no answer for that. So I decided to put it on Max. Yeah. And that way, maybe we could blame Max, but no, it's my fault. This is a computer I use for the dozen, for a lot of stuff that we do. And for whatever reason, sorry if it's on Zoom. I will take all of your complaints. I'm sorry.
Yes, all complaints filed to PFT, but just to set the stage so people are aware. So this is the last show we'll do on Zoom. Monday, you'll get an extra long show. We'll be back in studio. We'll obviously talk college football playoff at week 17, everything. Everyone will be back. So, and the Arnold Schwarzenegger interview is very, very much worth it. We taped it like 2 weeks ago. So we were together for that. So fear not, but we are going to do week 17 picks and preview. It's brought to you by our friends at Uber Eats, delivered with Uber Eats. It's football season, and you can now get almost anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? An O-line? Definitely no, but a carton of OJ? 100% yes. Running backs? No. Ribs? Yes. Uber Eats can get you that. There you have it. Get almost anything for game day delivered with Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Alcohol in select markets and 21 plus to order. Product availability may vary region by region. See app for details. Uber Eats, get almost anything. Order now with Uber Eats. Okay, PFT, week 17. First of all, fuck you to the NFL schedule makers. 10 games in the early slate, 3 games in the afternoon. They basically were just like, we're going to just try to scramble everyone's brain in the second to last big Sunday of the year. We do have a Saturday night game, but yeah, I looked at it and I started to count the games at that like 1 o'clock noon kickoff. And I was like, what is going on? Why do they have this many games?
Yeah, it's a bad job. I would have much rather enjoyed like 3 games on Saturday again.
Yep.
And to try to do this.
Yes. So we have a lot of shitty games, but a couple really, really good games. Obviously a ton of playoff implications. So we're going to fire through them. Let's start Saturday night. Detroit at Dallas. I think we're both very excited for this game. This game to me comes down to just like how big of a letdown spot for Detroit. That's really what it is. Like, will there be a letdown spot? That was obviously an emotional win, winning the NFC North. Do they have a little setback from that? And also Dallas kind of needs a win very badly right now. They're reeling a little bit. They've lost 2 in a row.
Yeah. And Dallas is what, 7-0 at home? And they're coming down off whatever the opposite of a letdown spot is. They kind of had a statement loss last week. We talked about it on Tuesday's Part of My Take, where we said, in a weird way, the Fraud Bowl actually ended up making us like both teams a little bit more. So Dallas had a very emotional loss, but almost in a way that should light a fire under their ass last week. So
right.
I feel like they're going to be coming out swinging. It's also the Jimmy Johnson game, which has to count for something, right? We've waited 30 years for Jimmy Johnson to get into the Ring of Honor. They selected this weekend as the weekend Jerry Jones lets him in finally, which to me is more proof than anything that Jerry Jones is actually dead and that AI Jerry Jones is now running the show. But regardless, it'll be like an emotional Saturday night primetime game for the Cowboys. I think I like the Cowboys in this game.
Let me ask you a question, though. How much emotion does the actual team care about Jimmy Johnson? I'd say 0.
The stadium will care.
The stadium will care. The team itself was probably like, okay, cool.
Well,
we all weren't born when this happened.
Any other team, I would say that's probably true for. But with the Cowboys, you know that Jerry Jones is going to be talking to the guys before the game. He's the most hands-on owner. It's a big weekend for Jerry Jones personally.
But will he be talking like Jimmy Johnson? He'll be like, Jimmy Johnson, he was a real son of a bitch. He and I really didn't like each other.
Well, I could also see it going the other way where the team is like, wow, Jerry's gotten soft.
Yeah.
Letting Jimmy into the Ring of Fame. Like, I'm not afraid of this guy anymore. Like, I thought this was a dude that would hold a grudge against me for forever.
He'd be like, you guys think I hate Mike McCarthy? I really hated Jimmy Johnson. He was so much better than Mike McCarthy, just to tell you how it used to be.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm still going with the take that it's a big game for the Cowboys.
Yes.
It's a have to win game.
And I also I know this over is very, very high, and I know totals have come down all year in the NFL, but I'm going to take this over because I don't know how either team stops the other. Like, it does feel like both teams are just going to do whatever they want offensively.
I feel like the Cowboys are going to go back to running their zone defense that they normally run. They didn't do it last week because you can't really play man-to-man against Tyreek Hill. That's just an impossible thing to do. But I feel like they'll go back to their old defense this week. I could see the Cowboys like holding the Lions to 20 points, 23 points.
Well, I really do think like you can't say letdown spots exist the same way in the NFL as they do in college football, but it has to be. Like, you just won the NFC North. You don't think the Lions partied and like took a big sigh of relief after this? And now the weird part is the Lions weirdly can still get the 1 seed, which I didn't even realize. So they are still playing for a lot, but there just has to be a letdown. I'm convinced that they're like, you do something that no Lions team has done in the history of the franchise, and also secure a home playoff game for the first time in 30 years. Like, everyone's human. If I did something like that, I'd take the fucking next 3 months off. Like, job well done.
Yeah, that's going to be us after the Schwarzenegger interview comes out.
Yeah,
see ya. We just did something great. Accomplished a 30-year goal of ours. Peace. I'm out for a week. Yeah, I'll say it this way: if the Lions manage to go to Dallas and beat the Cowboys, I'm going to upgrade them to potential Super Bowl NFC team. Right now, I'm still like, I need the defense, and Justin Houston coming back in the next couple of weeks is going to be big for them, I think. And CD Deuce isn't back yet, so they're going to get better on defense. But right now, I still kind of have that thing that you saw like 2 months ago, where you're like, I don't really trust the defense against a good offensive team. So if they're able to come out there and beat the Cowboys, I might put them into my trust column.
It's not even a good offensive team. I mean, look, Nick Mullins had 400 yards against him. I know that there was 4 turnovers, but it was also like Hawkinson and Addison had to be out for the season for the Lions to start getting stops. It's just, that's how all their games go. They're just going to give up big leads. They're going to get big leads. They're going to, like, it's just going to be fun as football to watch. But yeah, we'll see if they can slow down the Cowboys at all. I would agree with you. I'll have to upgrade them.
This is a trust game for me. Yeah. It's a trust game for the Lions. And if the Cowboys win, I'm probably just going to be like, yeah, the Cowboys won at home again. Big deal.
Yeah. Okay. Next game, Sunday, best game, Dolphins, Ravens, literally for the 1 seed. Obviously the either team could lose in week 18, and then that would, be out the window. Like, well, actually, no, if the Dolphins won this week and then lost in week 18, the Ravens would then have the 1 seed, because they have obviously one less loss than them right now. That Hard Knocks clip of Tyreek Hill and Tua, when he was he pretended to talk to Braxton Berrios, which we love Braxton Berrios. He's a friend of the program, been on the show, Thirst Trap King. That's got to kind of suck, where like you're like, it's like the biggest play of the game, and he's like he's like, all right, Reek, no one look at Reek. Let me just look at Braxton Berrios
Yeah.
and just pretend that like he's going to get the ball, even though no one in the world thinks he is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a little bit emasculating, but if you're a Braxton Berrios, you know what your role is on that team.
Yeah.
Your
Return
role is
punts
to
and catch balls, you know, when the other guys are covered.
date Alex Earl. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Pretty good life.
Be a Miami guy on our sideline. You're good. I have a theory, and you can tell me if this is fan fiction that I've been writing in my head for the last couple of days. But the you know who the defense coordinator of the Ravens is? Mike McDonald.
Yes.
Seen him on the sidelines a lot this year. He seems like the next hot head coach in waiting. He'll get more interviews this offseason, I'm sure, because their defense, I think, leads the NFL in scoring, I believe. Great coach. Used to coach at Michigan. Do you think that there's any chance at all that Connor Stallions has been working for the Ravens since he resigned from Michigan?
I think it's not a 0% chance. I actually this triggered a theory I have that we have to look into with the Cowboys, which I should have mentioned when we were talking about the Cowboys. Cowboys are too good at home. Do you think there's any chance that Jerry's figure out a way to hack into their communication?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But yes, I why wouldn't Connor Stallions? I mean, he's diehard Harbaugh. He'll do whatever he has to do for the Harbaugh men. That would rule.
I honestly do think that he would die for anybody in the Harbaugh family, including Tom Crean. But yeah, I looked it up since he resigned. The Ravens are 6-1. Their only loss was at Cleveland, where everybody would recognize Connor Stallions if he went to Ohio. Public enemy number one. Their defense has been playing lights out. I'm just going to float it out there with absolutely no backing behind it, besides the fact that McDonald used to coach at Michigan and Connor Stallions is a Harbaugh guy for life.
I like the theory. Did you see the other theory floating around the internet today? That so the 49ers have lost 4 games this year. The first 3 times they lost, they scored exactly 17 points, and then the quarterback got hurt shortly thereafter against the team they're playing. So the Browns, Deshaun Watson got hurt. The Vikings, Kirk Cousins got hurt, and then the Bengals, Joe Burrow got hurt. And so they're thinking that maybe it's like the ref was actually doing the Ravens a favor by tripping up Lamar Jackson, making the final score for the 49ers 19, not 17.
I like that.
So Lamar Jackson's been saved.
It's probably more likely than Connor Stallions working behind the scenes for the Ravens. But yes. I like both theories. Why can't they both be true?
Yeah, they're both true. As for this game, I want to take the Ravens really badly, but I also I feel like this is a fuck around game for the Ravens. I know that makes no sense because they're playing for the 1 seed, but that win was so big in San Francisco and the way they were talking about it after. And the Ravens, I think we all agree the Ravens are the best team in the NFL, but they also are the number 1 team of look at their losses. They just fuck around. They lost to the Colts in overtime. They lost to the Browns when they're up 14. They lost to the Steelers team that can't do anything this year by dropping a million balls. They're like the quintessential, if they lose, you can just be like, well, yeah, they were fucking around. They shouldn't have been fucking around.
I don't know if they're going to fuck around against the Dolphins, though.
I don't think so, but I'm also nervous because this would be the fuck around spot off a big win, but both teams are off a big win. I kind of want to fade both teams. I don't know how you can do that.
Tie.
Seriously, though, the spot says both
about
teams.
This game.
Yeah. I don't. You want to call him?
Yeah. You want to call Mike?
No, we can't. We'll do it. We'll wait because he's too keen on it now. But we publicly embarrassed him.
He is. Well, yeah, but we appreciate Mike. We really do.
We love him.
But yeah, I want to know if this is gonna, because he has the opportunity to turn this into a brand for himself, to be the biggest Ravens hater on planet Earth, which I don't think he really wants to do. But if he had a more shrewd eye towards carving out that niche for yourself, you've got certain people in media that absolutely hate other teams. Skip Bayless hates LeBron. You can find your niche, and then you'll be that person, the go-to person for that. We don't really have a Ravens hater.
He's not. Mike is too honest, because it is true. There's a lot of media people that they just pick a lane and then they just because they do the calculation where they're like, all right, I'm going to pick this lane. And if I end up being wrong, it's even better for me because then everyone's going to tune in to see me publicly embarrassed. I think Mike is too honest for that. I don't think he actually calls it like he sees it. He won't do the easy way out, because it is the easy way out where you can just be like, I think this, and I'll just keep saying this forever and forever. And then if I'm wrong at the end of the year, everyone's going to tune into my show at 9 a.m. and be like, you're wrong.
Yeah.
That's
Or
sports media.
He could, yeah, it's actually like it's an undefeated way to make yourself a very good living in this business. He should be a bigger Flowers fan if his name's Florist.
That
just occurred to me a second ago.
That's a fact. I'm excited for this game, though. I'm very excited for this game. Also,
I am too.
Dolphins obviously beat a really good team in the Cowboys, but they still haven't done it on the road. So maybe we could just shift the narrative to that. And no Jalen Waddle. And Tua's got a thumb. He's got two thumbs, but he's got a one thumb that hurts.
One injured. I think it was probably good for the Dolphins to win a low scoring game like that.
Yeah.
You know, where they get to they
I've been saying their defense.
There was a lot of stuff going on. They were asked in the media this week. I know Mike McDaniels had to deal with a lot of like, are you guys too cute? I think they just straight up asked him, are you too cute? And he was saying that, like, you know, there's people that talk out there and it doesn't really affect what they're doing. I actually think that if enough people call a football team too cute, they do start to listen to that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. How can you not? You hear that? And then the Ravens are playing like the Ravens are just talking about how they're the biggest underdogs in the world, which I don't know how you can still be when you have the best record in the NFL, but it works for them. So don't fix what's, not broken there.
Yeah. Yeah. Just give yourself whatever fuel that you need. But I think I like the Dolphins in this one.
We do have our one nerd nugget of the week. We told Jake to send us his nerd nugget of the week. It is the Ravens have recorded at least one sack in 36 consecutive games, marking the NFL's longest active streak, the longest such streak in franchise history. Very cool.
I don't count that as nerd. You didn't do the sound.
Okay. Nerd nugget of the week.
Very cool.
Very cool. All right. Saints and Bucks. PFT, I'm going to do something really dumb. I'm probably going to bet the Saints.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb. Pretty dumb.
It is, but it's also like the Bucks are goodish. Baker's played very well. He should win comeback player of the year, Joe Flacco. No disrespect to DeMar Hamlin, but why is he winning? He should not win comeback player of the year.
They should do a different award for DeMar. They should name an award after DeMar.
Yeah. If you almost die, you get the DeMar Hamlin award.
Yeah. You get the DeMar Hamlin Excellence and Courage Award.
I actually think that DeMar Hamlin probably, if you hit him with True Serum right now, he'd probably be like, I kind of don't want to win this because everyone's going to just shit on me and be like, you had 2 tackles in 2 games. Like there is an element. Like I honestly think DeMar Hamlin's like, can I just be a regular human being again? Like, I know it was a crazy story, but I want to just go back and maybe, get my career back on track.
He should have won the award last year when he survived.
Fact.
When he came back from literally death. That's when you win comeback player of the year. But yeah, this year they're probably going to give it to him because football writers, they see a story like that and they're like, oh, wow, this is just such a great, great story that we have to promote. But yeah, if we're being honest, he hasn't played much. We've got some really good deserving names like, Flacco, but Baker. I would say Baker, like if Flacco did it all year long, then that's one thing. But he's been pretty solid all year. They're probably maybe going to win the division. I don't want to jinx it, but they have every opportunity, even if they lose this game against the Saints. I think if they win next week, they win the division, right?
The Bucks. Oh, the Bucks. Yes. The Bucks. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, Baker, he's put together a season. I'm not just saying this because I bet on him to win the award. But I also am kind of saying it because of that. But I do think that he should win. DeMar, it's a good story. I don't want to take anything away from DeMar.
It's hard to say that he shouldn't win, but I'm here. I'll be the brave one and say this guy shouldn't win the award.
Name it after him. Name the award after him next year.
He shouldn't win the award. It's just a fact. He shouldn't win the award. As for this game, I'm going to take the Saints probably because I just feel like the Saints couldn't be worse, and the Bucks are riding as high as possible. It's the combination. It's a buy low, sell high situation for the Bucks are playing out of this world good the last few weeks, and I think it's slightly a mirage. Like I think they're a good team. I don't think they're as good as they've been playing, and the Saints are bad, but maybe they're not as bad. Even me saying this sounds dumb. I also have a nerd nugget for this game. It's the fact that the Saints, this is their first outdoor game since October 8th.
Yeah, okay, that's a big red flag to me.
Yeah, that's
But
crazy.
I think, like, if you watch the Saints last week, I understand what you're saying. I
Right.
get it. Where with the Bucks, they beat what we thought was a good team, the Jaguars. They crushed them. Baker's been playing out of his mind. Now's the time where they should come back to earth, but also the Saints have just looked real bad for the last month.
There's no football analysis behind the fact that I'm just saying that everyone in the world is going to look at Bucks minus 2.5 on Sunday and be like, that's the easiest bet in the world. And that's always the bet that loses.
Do you see the report that Russell Wilson, a possible destination for him next year, might be with the Saints?
Oh my God.
I can't think of a worse culture
torture.
Fit.
Yeah.
I can't think of a worse culture fit for the city of New Orleans than Russell Wilson, with the exception of maybe Derek Carr.
Well, the only thing you could say is maybe Russ would maybe he'd enjoy eating with Zion and they'd both get really fat.
That'd be fun.
Russ could get fat. Russ has the frame to get fat.
Yeah. It would be very funny seeing tubby little Russ Wilson waddling around next year.
That would actually be I would have to stop the simulation and say this is actually mean to Saints fans at this point. You can't do this.
And it's been torture for them this year. Did you see that podcast caller last week that called in complaining about Derek Carr? I thought that guy was from Staten Island.
No, so that's
threw in a couple y'alls.
That's the New Orleans accent. I can't remember. I had a clip. This comedian, very funny comedian, went on a late night show and he explained it that all New Orleans accents, true New Orleans accents, are essentially like a Brooklyn firefighter with a couple of Valiums.
Yeah.
And when he broke it down, I was like, wow, that's exactly what it is.
I hit up our friend Derek that we got to meet from LSU way back in the day. And I was like, this guy, I thought he was from New York until he threw in the y'all. And he was like, yeah, the accents are exactly the same. They're both port cities.
Yeah.
So I guess that's just a port accent.
Yeah. And shout out Snow Like John. That was his call-in show after. Very, very funny. He's a good content creator down in New Orleans. He does red beans and rice reviews every day. It's fucking awesome. Every single time I see it, I'm just like, I want that. I want that.
Listen,
right now.
I agree with what you're saying that now would be the time to fade the Bucks, but I haven't seen anything out of the Saints that I've liked, and it feels like
it's
years.
dumb. It's dumb. I'm fully saying how stupid what I'm saying is, but it's just that feeling I've been doing this long enough that when you can see those easy spots, you're like, oh man, the Bucks, this is going to be the easiest game ever.
This is also a potential Mike Evans gets ejected game. He loves fighting the Saints.
True. He does he likes fighting the Saints. You're right. It seems like it happens more often in the dome though.
Yeah.
He does get pissed in the dome. Okay, next game. Raiders at Colts. I don't know. I want to bet the Raiders, but then Aiden O'Connell still what has been I hope for this game Aiden O'Connell goes a couple quarters without completing a pass. That would
Goes a full game.
Awesome. Yeah.
If you win a full 4 quarters without completing a pass, and I hope that they win the game too, they're winning at the time. I don't love the Raiders, but I do think that Antonio Pierce has coached his way into being the full-time head coach. If they really want to win this game, Mark Davis should announce before the game starts, you're giving away a scholarship, this walk-on now has earned his position. If you're looking for a boost, Mark Davis, go into the locker room before kickoff and tell the team Antonio Pierce is coming back next year as the head coach. I guarantee you win that game.
Yeah, because there does feel like the Raiders win against the Chiefs. The joke that Hank and Patriots fans used to always make, oh, congrats on your week 6 Super Bowl. That did feel like a Super Bowl for the Raiders. I mean, they were smoking cigars in the locker room after. Yeah. I kind of have a running theory that if you smoke cigars in a locker room for a regular season game the next week, you can't be trusted.
They did that in Pierce's first game too. Remember that?
And what happened in the second game?
I don't know. Can we look that up?
I'm going to look it up right now.
Okay, yeah, because I remember Max Crosby lit up a cigar after that game too.
Max Crosby also might just light cigars after every game, so that might be different. I believe his first game was the Giants game, so they won the second game by they beat the Jets 16-12. What a barn burner.
But you remember that game? The Raiders did feel like it also might have just been them celebrating not having to go back to a locker room with Josh McDaniels in it. That's why they were excited.
Yeah.
But they did act like that was a Super Bowl.
I do have one stat that goes for like us just talking about storylines and being dumb from Sports Info Solution that Raiders defense, they play 6th highest in zone, and Gardner Minshew's bad against the zone. So take that however you want. But I thought I'd throw in a stat that people can actually be like, hey, they're not just talking about cigars and teams being cursed after the 49ers scoring 17 points.
Yeah, no, that's definitely one that you can drop in the bar and everybody be like, wow, that guy knows ball.
Yeah. Holy shit. Okay. All right. Patriots at Bills. Okay. This game, I want to take the Bills so bad, but doesn't it feel, and maybe this is way off, like the Bills, this is a game that like all the pressure's on them. There's no pressure on the Patriots. They cannot lose this game. They've climbed all the way out of this hole, and they're one game away from basically playing for, if the Ravens lose or if the Ravens beat the Dolphins, they're one game away from playing for the AFC East, which we would have thought was impossible a month and a half ago. So it's like, I think the Bills will win the game, but I also feel like so much pressure's on them to win this game that a 13-point spread is a lot.
13 is a lot. Yeah, for sure. And all us Patriots fans know, going back to week 1, we said, we're just going to play spoiler this year. So now's the time, right? We got 2 games in a row, play spoiler. You can spoil the Bills season right now. And then next week, you can just spoil the Jets' existence and spoil their fans' lives. But this is a big time spoiler game. So I think I'm going to stand by that take. I would not be shocked if the Patriots did something weird, because their defense is really good. Their defense is not the problem at all. Their defense is good enough to win football games. If Bailey Zappi gets hot, then anything can happen in this game.
That's a crazy thing to say, but yes. If Bailey Zappi gets hot,
he gets hot for halves.
He does. He got hot in the first half against the Steelers. He got hot for first half against the Broncos. He gets hot for halves.
Yeah, so if he can just not be as cold in the second half as he is in the first half, then the defense, 13 points is too much for this game.
It also feels like he was hot, so hot last game, and that was such a big win that there's no way he's going to do it again. Right?
You never know. Maybe for a half. I did read a take on, I think it was on Fox Sports. I forget who wrote it, but they're speculating that if the Bills somehow collapse, if like the Patriots win this game and the Bills end up not making the playoffs, Belichick could take over for McDermott after the season's over.
In Buffalo?
In Buffalo. That would be wild.
What job has he not been rumored for now?
He's just linked to everyone. It's just a hack where you can be like, possible landing spots for Belichick and then just include every team.
I don't know if he would do that. That would be weird, wouldn't it? That would be very
It depends
weird.
how much he hates the Patriots. Like how bad is the exit going to be for him where he will be petty enough to go inside the division? I don't see it happening, but I saw this one person throw that take out there and I was like, that's worth exploring just a little bit.
Also, Bill Belichick, like, dude, you've lived in cold weather for a very long time. You look miserable every time they show you on the sidelines. You're old. You know your bones probably hurt when it gets below 30 degrees. Go somewhere warm. Why not? Go somewhere warm.
Go somewhere where if you're walking out of a house early in the morning with your shirt off, you're not going to have your nipples freezing.
Yeah, go to New Orleans. Why not?
That'd be fun.
Go to New Orleans. Go to L.A. Live the life. You deserve it. Do like a half retired, half coaching job. That's the dream.
It really is. But back to this game, I think that the Bills are going to win, but they couldn't take care of business against the Chargers. That game was way closer than we thought it was going to be.
That's what I'm saying.
I still don't trust the Bills. They might win the division, which, going into the season, we thought this might be the best division in football. And they might win it, but they still might not be a very good team.
I don't think there's a team you can trust right now in the NFL.
I trust the Commanders to suck.
I was going to say, like, you go down the list. We talked about it. The Ravens are a true fuck around team. Like, I think the Ravens are the best team, but Ravens fans are nodding right now being like, yep, we do fuck around sometimes. The 49ers, do you trust them if they go down a couple scores? Because I don't. Like, the Cowboys defense, the Lions defense, the Chiefs are broken. The Dolphins haven't beaten a good team on the road. Like, that's why this season is so much fun. I don't think there's one team that you could say, like, put my life on the line, they win this game.
The Ravens are probably the closest to that.
Closest, yeah. But then they have the fuck around thing where it's like they do a full Ravens situation where it's like, wait, they're the better team, but how is this game a tied game in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I think, but the Bills,
they have like more of a
glare.
Around, yeah.
They have more glaring trust issues because they haven't been good all season.
They've had good stretches. I mean, this stretch they're on right now is very good. You have to say that they won at Arrowhead and then they killed the Cowboys.
I would also say though, last week, that's not a team that I trust the way that they toyed around with the Chargers.
Yeah. Well, Easton Stick, too much time for Easton Stick. Okay. Next game, we could just Falcons at Bears. We don't have to talk about it.
Yeah. What do you want to happen?
I don't care.
You care a little bit.
Yeah, I care. I win. Justin Fields looks awesome. I don't know. Lose, get a better draft pick. Ask me with 2 minutes left in the game and I'll let you know.
You've had so many instances where you get a good game from Justin Fields, but they lose. And then you're like, well, he looked good, but also it would have been sweet if he understands what winning is like.
I guess actually, now that I'm really thinking about it, I would like them to win because I think there is like a culture change and they're starting to win and be a tough team to play. So you got to kind of carry that over into next year. As long as the Panthers lose out, the Bears can win out and I'd be happy. Especially because, if they finish 8-9 and you're like, look at how they played the last 2 months, that's something you can build off of. That's not nothing.
Right.
So, win.
Yeah.
Okay.
Win. Roll some confidence over. You want to win.
I do think they're going to win. I do think they're going to win.
You just got to put all your eggs in the Panthers losing basket.
Correct. Like that's the thing is if that Panthers pick wasn't there, I would say I would want the Bears to lose because we have that Panthers pick. It changes the whole calculation. So yes, win. And I think they are going to win. Because I don't think the Falcons are going to be able to run on the Bears and the Falcons need to run to be good. And also, doesn't it feel like like they had a good game last week? What does that mean? That means they probably will do something stupid this week.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our Bears Falcons preview. There's a couple games we could do that for. Rams Giants. Ty God is back. The Rams are dangerous. The Rams are playing great ball. I think the Rams are. I kind of like this over in this game. I think the Rams are going to win this game, but I am a little nervous about Tyrod Taylor because he is so much better than. It's crazy that he's like second or third string everywhere he goes because every time he comes in, he looks good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he looks really good. He just gets weird injuries that happen to him all the time. And so that's the concern with him. I think the Rams are they're peaking at like the exact correct time. They had the mid-season downhill swoon that they went on.
They were 3-6.
Now they're playing so well. Like their running game, their passing game, Matt Stafford is playing as good as he's ever played. Their defense is playing pretty good. Aaron Donald is back to being like Aaron Donald. Although Rams PR might have jinxed it. I don't know if you saw this, but Rams PR put out a stat and they said quarterback Matthew Stafford became the fourth quarterback in NFL history to throw 10+ touchdowns and no interceptions in the month of December in a single season, joining Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and Tom Brady. It's only happened 3 times before. They put this stat out. Correct me if I'm wrong, Big Cat. I haven't looked at a calendar in a while. We're both on vacation. This game is being played in the month of December, is it not?
It is.
It seems like they should have waited. They should have waited until after this week was over to put that stat out.
I'd agree. That was a premature stat by premature staculation by Schefter.
Yeah, premature staculation. Sometimes the premature stats are more potent.
He can't keep it in. He can't keep it. He's just the Stafford was just too hot. So he had to release a stat. Baby, you're just so hot. It's not you. It's not you. Yeah. Yeah. He's just, Schefter's just whispering. He's like, listen, this doesn't usually happen. You're just so hot, Stafford. You've just been so good that it just, it's not that like, I swear next time. Well, you want to go again? You want to do it again? You want to do another stat? I swear I can last longer on this stat.
I'll be good. Just give me like 30 minutes and then he falls asleep. Yeah, although I just minor correction, it wasn't Adam Schefter, Big Cat. It was Rams PR that did that. So it was their own team. Yeah.
Oh, I wish it was Schefter. That was funnier.
We can just say it was Schefter.
Yeah, it was Schefter. I don't know why I thought it was Schefter. I had Schefter. Oh, because Schefter, I have alerts on, and he said an alert popped up on my computer and my phone that the Browns were the first team to make, let's see, Browns are now the first team in NFL history to make the playoffs after starting 4 different quarterbacks in the same season. It's pretty cool.
Very cool.
That's why I had Schefter on my brain.
Yeah.
The Schefter alerts are a blessing and a curse because you have to have them on for, Sunday mornings, but sometimes it's too much.
My favorite Schefter alerts are when I wake up on Sunday morning and I see that at like 11:59 or 12:01, it's always like 1 minute away from midnight. Schefter did his dump of who's playing and who's not. He has like a handshake agreement with every team. Like, I'm not going to put this out until midnight the night before, but just give me all your info.
It's perfect.
I'm not going to put this out until I put my parlay in, and then I'll drop it.
I think the Rams are going to win this game because the Giants love to blitz and Stafford kills the blitz. Not fully this year, but it's also because Kyren Williams is like, he's a lead dog in terms of blocking. We talked about it in the offseason when the whole running backs, they had their Zoom call and everything. Kyren Williams is one of those guys that like he should just do a whole blocking highlight, and that should get him $15 million a year alone because he saves Matthew Stafford's life multiple times a game.
He takes a lot of pride in his blocking. That's what they always say about running backs. Yeah.
He was like that at Notre Dame too. He's just a dog back there. Okay, Cardinals at Eagles. I don't know. Eagles have to win by a lot for me to feel good about the Eagles.
Yeah, they're going to win this game.
But they have to win by a lot. Don't you agree? Like if this is another game where the Eagles win by 5 somehow, I'm going to be like, well, they're not fixed.
It's a revenge game for the Eagles against Gannon. So if you remember the way that it all shook out before the Super Bowl, Jonathan Gannon said, Philly's keeping me, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm staying here. That was his quote, I believe, after the NFC Championship game. The week of the Super Bowl, the Cardinals hit him up and they're like, hey, we want to interview you after the Super Bowl if we happen to have a coaching vacancy. And he was like, yeah, sure, that sounds good. And then they interviewed him, I believe, the day after the Super Bowl. So they want us to believe that they called him the Monday morning after the Super Bowl. And they're like, hey, since you're in Arizona, you want to just swing by the facility? We'll talk about it. No, this was something that was put into place probably a week or two before the game. And so I think that Philly's got like, let's get some revenge against Snake Gannon.
Yeah. Yeah, they have to. Max, 2 things. We're in Arizona right now. I took my son to mini golf at Talking Stick, where if you remember, we went and interviewed Lane Johnson. Vibes couldn't have been higher at that very moment. Do you remember that moment, Max?
Yeah, it was a great time. Great time of life.
Great time. Number 2 is, what do the Eagles have to win by for you to feel confident? And is it also just a terrible feeling knowing that the Eagles are going to lose in the playoffs and you know it's coming and there's nothing you can do about it?
I'm going to answer that first question. I'll say 3 scores.
Okay.
3 touchdowns?
Scores.
3 scores?
3 scores.
So 9 points?
No, 6 points. 3 safeties.
I don't like the way that you guys are doing this. I think
you said 3 scores. We want to dive into the numbers.
The answer is
17 or more.
Correct. 17 would be nice.
Scores.
Or it like if it just never got to a 1-score game after the first quarter, I would be fine with that.
And then what about the other part?
Like a comfortable win, because sometimes the Eagles can like dominate a game and only win by 14 by just like absolutely controlling the clock in the second half, and I would like to see that.
Yeah, the Eagles, like the Cardinals can't really stop the run. It would be fun if the Eagles just played a game where they didn't do a forward pass.
Yeah, I would be fine with that.
Yeah, Michigan versus Penn State. And they're like, we're just going to win it this way. What about the other part of my question? I kind of snuck that part in.
I know. I answered. We only do one question at a time here. One question with a Max.
PFT, do you have a question for Max? Oh, he's frozen.
Oh, he's frozen.
Okay, I got you back.
Okay, he's back.
Right, we're back. We're back.
Do you have a question for Max, PFT?
Yeah, I do. Max, is this a must-win game for you guys?
No, you're supposed to ask him.
Yeah.
I asked him.
Must win. Yeah, great question. Great question.
Yes,
damn it,
PFT.
I'm frozen again, so I didn't hear Max's answer.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't answer the part where I said, does it suck that you know that the Eagles are going to lose in the playoffs? There's nothing you can do about it. And it's going to be torturous because you know it's going to happen and it can't stop it. But we can't ask another question. So he's just going to elude this question.
Max, I was curious to know, as an Eagles fan, the way that the last couple weeks have gone for you, are you
No, yeah, I agree. This is a must win. Yeah, this
He's
is a
a
must win.
frozen again.
He's so frozen.
This is painful. He's frozen again. He froze again. It's almost like a bit. You're freezing. Memes, do you have a question for Max?
I'm thinking about one. If you could text me the correct verbiage.
Okay, memes. Memes. Do you have one question for Max? We're doing one question for Max real quick. Do you have a question for Max?
Memes here, Pardon My Take podcast. Max, are you worried that you're going to lose in the playoffs and there's nothing you can do about it, and you're going to cry and be sad and you know it's coming and you suck?
Good question, memes.
Good question, memes. Good question. Thanks for reaching out. Yeah, no. Most teams lose in this league, so the chances are that yes, the Eagles will lose in the playoffs. So I am preparing for that, but I'm not canceling out all possibilities here. So the Eagles still could win the Super Bowl.
Okay. All right. Good answer. The Bears could still win the Super Bowl.
Wrong. That's incorrect.
They're not eliminated right now, Max.
Okay. I thought they were. That's on me.
Yeah, that's on you.
I got to know my facts. The
Bears and Eagles might have the same chance of winning the Super Bowl. 0.
Not zero.
Max, what are your thoughts? Zero. What are your thoughts on Gannon? Do you hate Gannon?
I don't really give a fuck about Gannon. I like Matt Patricia. I'll say that.
Yeah, Matt Patricia's your guy.
Defense has looked better past 2 weeks.
All right, let's go to the next game. 49ers or Commanders. PFT Jacoby Brissett is your starter now. Good job. You found the right guy. Week 17 took you a while, but you found the right guy.
Listen, this is it's a move that at first I was just like, why are we doing this? Why don't we just let Sam Howell play the season out? You remember last year, that's when we benched Heineke was against the Niners. We said, okay, we're going back to Carson Wentz. It felt weird then. It feels weird now, but also the Niners are just going to destroy us. The Niners are going to take a big shit all over us. Shanahan hates the organization. We've got Chase Young, and he's going to be looking to prove something against us. It's not good, but then I thought to myself, if you're going to bench Sam Howell, why not bench him for this game? Just like, okay, he might not be the guy in the eyes of the coaching staff. I don't think putting him in this game is going to prove anything because we're going to lose no matter what. And also, I think that there might be something wrong with him physically. This would not be a good game to put him out there, let him get killed again. So I don't necessarily hate the move. It's just like a sad move for me because I saw the picture that the Commanders tweeted out of Jacoby Brissett looking dummy thick, by the way. I don't know if you saw that picture, Big Cat.
Yeah.
He was doing the influencer pose with his ass sticking out in the pocket. And he is the Kobe. He's Jacoby Brisket. And it was very funny. And I saw that and I thought to myself, you know what? Fuck it. I guess we're doing Jacoby Brissett. We want to lose this game. When the game is going on, I will be rooting for the Commanders. But ideally, I would like to lose this game and then lose the last game of the season and maybe end up with the 3rd overall pick if my New England Patriots can do their part and play spoiler. So it's going to be a sad game to watch. I don't think that it's going to be particularly competitive. I'm not going to bet against the Commanders, but if you were smart, you would bet against the Commanders this weekend.
Yeah. This is going to be a tough game to watch. I would agree. All right, let's do. This has never been done in our preview, but I think because this is abbreviated preview, I'm going to do it here. We're going to do a combo game. So whatever you want to say, Panthers at Jaguars, okay. Titans at Texans.
All right.
It's a 4-way game.
I guess Titans and Texans is a more interesting game because the Texans aren't dead. CJ Stroud's coming back.
The Jaguars aren't dead either.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like the Texans are more alive to me than the Jaguars are, even though I think all the Jags have to do is they have to win against the Panthers, right?
Yeah, I think they just have to win one more game, maybe. I don't know. I don't even know. Both these games
I have no interest in watching either one of these games.
Correct. These are games.
I guess there is something kind of interesting in the Titans-Texans game is Will Levis and CJ Stroud.
Yeah. And CJ Stroud being back after a concussion. Hopefully he looks good. I do want the Panthers to lose. Obviously, I'm very nervous about it because I actually think that the Jaguars could absolutely lose this game. But yeah, these are the games that you have to just memory hole and be like, we would kill for this game in July. But when it comes to like, it's crazy because both, like you said, the Texans and the Jaguars both are alive, but I don't really want to watch either of them play football right now. And maybe that will change once we see CJ Stroud back out there. But right now it's like, this is a bummer. These are bummer games.
You know what it was? The last couple of weeks, we got a flashback to the old Texans. And
Yeah.
we had just now started to memory wipe ourselves of what the Texans have looked like for the past like 7 years. And we had a flashback with Case Keenum and Davis Mills playing quarterback. And now it's like, okay, it's those Texans again. We forget that when CJ Stroud's playing, they're actually very, very fun to watch for the most part.
Yes.
So I'm just hoping for a fun game. I hope both quarterbacks look good. Maybe we should reframe the narrative and say we get to watch Will Levis against CJ Stroud for the next 13 years.
Actually, let's just hope that all 4 of these quarterbacks look good.
Okay.
Right? Let's root for health for all 4 of these quarterbacks, specifically Trevor Lawrence, who's gotten every injury in the world.
Yeah. I want to give a quick shout out to one of my favorite Twitter accounts, Art But Make It Sports.
Yes.
This guy has like an encyclopedic memory of all sorts of art, like going back to like Renaissance paintings, modern art, and he sees things that happen on TV and sports games, and then he immediately finds a painting that looks exactly like that still frame. The Trevor Lawrence face, where his face started to melt because he got hit so hard. He found the portrait of Pablo Picasso, which was like a pixelated, curvy face that was the exact perfect fit for it. I wish I was as good at anything as this guy is at just going back through his memory and being like, that reminds me of this thing I just saw on TV. Perfect.
He's actually a well-adjusted, well-rounded person where he's a sports fan, but he also has some culture.
Yeah.
The opposite of us.
Exact opposite.
We'd be like,
us, which is why we like him so much.
Yeah. We'd try to do art, but make it sports to be like, wait, that one time in The Simpsons. No, I can't remember.
Well, it's like either The Simpsons or it's like a screenshot from The Sopranos. Yeah.
Or
Tony
another sports event.
Yeah. Art But Make It Sports and memes his brain, except it's just SpongeBob memes.
Yeah. This time Trevor Lawrence's face got smushed. Remind me of the time Blake Bortles' face got smushed.
Yeah.
That's really it. Like, yeah, remember when Blake Bortles had his tongue wagging out and he was getting hit? That's what I thought of.
Yeah. Yeah, memory. But if you want to be like 10% smarter or just feel 10% smarter, follow that guy.
All right, so gun to your head, these 2 games, I would go Texans minus the points and Panthers plus the points.
I would go Texans minus the points and Jaguars. I feel like back to your theory on like how you're fading the Bucs this week. I think you can do the opposite with the Jaguars, that they look so bad last week that now's the time to take them.
It's not a bad thought. They could not possibly look worse. Okay, afternoon games. That was all just the 1 o'clocks. It's crazy. I don't know why they did 10 games. Steelers at Seahawks. I think the Steelers might win this game.
I like the Steelers here too. This might be back-to-back culture games for Tomlin.
Yeah, this would get him to 9 wins.
Yeah.
This is the 9th win game. And I mean,
can you imagine if the Steelers win 10 games this year?
It'd be crazy. It would be crazy, especially because if they win 10 games, they would be in the playoffs, and I wouldn't really hate them being in the playoffs because it would have meant that they looked good for the last 3 weeks of the season, and Mason Rudolph would be fun. It does make me a little nervous because it feels like the story of this season is backup quarterback comes in, does awesome things, and then we're reminded why they're the backup quarterback. It's the Dobbs year. If you want to tell the full story of the 2023 NFL season, it's Josh Dobbs and all his like offspring. Every branch of the Dobbs tree is just quarterbacks. Jake Browning popping up, looking good. Zach Wilson getting hurt, coming back, looking good, getting hurt again, coming back, looking good. Bailey Zappi looking good for a game. Like Mason Rudolph looking good for a game. All these guys, Nick Mullins, all of them.
Drew Lock.
Like you can go down Jacoby Brissett. Like there's just a list of these guys who've come in for a game. Heineke, when he came in for the first game, now he's back. Like that's the entirety of this NFL season is guys coming in for one start. Easton Stick. Like It just keeps going on and on and on. So it is the Josh Dobbs year.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. We've had a lot of quarterbacks that show up and it's a feel good story. And we're like, oh, this is so awesome to see that. There should be a team that gets to the playoffs and then they have an unexpected backup come in like right at the start of the playoffs. Then we get a nice little like 2, maybe 3 game stretch. We're like, oh wow, this version of Josh Dobbs is awesome before they fall off and lose in a heartbreaking fashion. But
dude, remember Tyson Bagent? That was awesome.
Yeah.
For a week.
Yeah. With Mason Rudolph, I feel like what he's done is very similar to what Drew Lock did.
Okay.
Like everybody was very, very down on Drew Lock. A lot of people were disrespecting him. A lot of people, like us included, were saying bad things, thinking bad things about Mason Rudolph. Just our own fault for the last like 3 years. And then he came in, played well, and we're like, wow, I guess we've really turned the page on him. I think we have another like week or 2 of feeling good about Mason Rudolph before we're like, oh yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. So this is the last week. So we should probably be like, yeah, we should probably bet the Steelers.
Yeah, I think so. And then in the Broncos game, I think this is Jared Stidham.
Yeah, he's Jared. Yeah,
he's
so Broncos
he's the
and
new
Chargers.
Josh Dobbs.
I mean, we should talk quickly about Russ, the sad ending of Russell Wilson's, maybe his career. Someone will pick him up, but I don't know if he's going to, like, if I said to you right now, Russell Wilson over under 15 starts in the NFL for the rest of his career, would you take the over or the under?
It depends how bad the team is that picks him up.
I'd take the under, I think. I think
he'll get another shot. I think he'll get another shot after this next shot. So I'd take the over.
This shot, well, I don't know if this shot will be a starting job.
I think he will. I think he's gonna start week 1 next year. And then I don't know if he's gonna last the entire season. And then there'll be one more team that's like, let's roll the dice.
Okay. But yeah, it was so obviously they benched him mostly because of the contract. It was very similar to the Derek Carr thing last year, where it's like, we can't get this guy injured because then we have to pay him like $40 million. We can't risk that, especially because we were going to cut him. Diana Rossini had that report that he's gone from Denver, which I think we all knew. This also was like a very good test on the stats that you see compiled on Twitter versus the eye test. Because, you know, there was the meme going around that Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes are the same quarterback this year. And it's like, if you watch the Broncos, like yes, it was great that they turned it around, but it was a lot of smoke and mirrors. It was a lot of, turnover luck. And Russell Wilson still had the same issues that he's had the last 2 years, where it's like, he can throw a deep ball that has like a 20% chance of getting completed. He can't move an offense down the field, and he can't use his legs the same way. And then Sean Payton came and did an all-time press conference where he's like, someone asked him if it felt like Russell Wilson was getting all the blame. He's like, well, I can't cut 5 offensive linemen. I can't change all my wide receivers. It just went through everyone under the bus all at once. Great job by Sean Payton.
He was like, well, yeah, that's what a scapegoat is. That's why the quarterback position is the best, because you can just be like, yeah, it is that guy's fault. And Russ, to his credit, he was better than Russ last year.
Yeah.
So everybody was like, oh, maybe he's back. We spent a lot of time this year being like, oh, maybe old Russell Wilson is working his way back there. But yeah, the math did not work in his favor. That's why if you give big money to a quarterback, then they're always going to have in the back of their mind, like, oh, well, this is our biggest expense. What can we do to try to move on from this guy like a little bit too soon rather than a little bit too late? And I don't know how that works when they ask, because it's an injury guarantee. So they want to make sure that he's healthy. Did they give him a physical and then he passed the physical and they're like, okay, you're benched.
A trick physical.
A trick physical. That's what I want. Because if you're an NFL quarterback, a good agent should tell his client, if you ever get a physical done, like, always say that something's really hurting you.
Yeah.
And then tell a coach, like, I'm going to play through it. But yeah, this is really killing me. But yeah, I think it might have been a fake physical.
They did the thing like I do with my kids. Like their dentist office is right next to a toy store. So I'm always like, yeah, we're going to the toy store today. And I'm like, oh, well, we got to stop at the dentist's office first. You think they did that to Russ? Like
They might have said,
we're
hey,
going to the Subway right now. We're gonna get a sandwich. You're like, oh shit! Before we get this the foot long, we're just gonna need you to have to sit up on this table and cough for us.
yeah, Sean Payton might have been like, hey, Russ, we're giving out big boy bonuses today. If everyone's feeling good like a big boy, no pain at all. If you're a tough guy, then I'm giving you $100,000 cash under the table. You want to take your physical? He's like, yeah, coach, I'm feeling great. All right, you're benched.
His physical was literally just the pain chart, the 0 to like 10. It's in every hospital room. Russ, can you point up here where you like 0 to 10? Russ is like, oh, I'm like a 1. Like, oh, great, you're benched.
Yeah. Peyton was probably like, hey, I'm just doing a check on you because I don't want you to get banged up. If you're hurt, I'm going to sit you because we value your long-term health here. So I just want to make sure going into this next week that you're feeling good, like you're ready to start. Because if you're not, just tell me and we're going to take care of you. He's like, no, I want to start. I'm feeling great. All right. Tough news. You're benched.
Yeah, cool. You answered that incorrectly. I also did love Sean Payton doing the classic coach speech where he's like, listen, if I'm bad at my job, I'm out of here too. Where he's, you know, he's like, yeah, okay, Russ is a scapegoat, but like someday I'll get fired. It's like, okay, dude, we know that like you basically have control of this whole organization for the foreseeable future and you're getting paid a ton of money. So of course, yeah, you can say that, but you're not getting fired.
I'm sure he's been fired before, but just thinking back on his recent career, when was the last time Sean Payton was fired?
Yeah. Ooh, let's look it up. By the way,
because
in sad stats, since this is the end of the Russell Wilson era in Denver, he officially is finishing his career with less wins than toilets in his house. So he has 12 toilets in his house. He won 11 games for the Broncos in 2 years.
That is very sad. But yeah, Sean Payton, he left the Saints on his own terms. I'm pretty sure he left the Cowboys on his own terms.
I guess he got, he technically got fired as like a player.
He got fired. Well, he got suspended for a year.
He got fired by Andy Reid in the Eagles. Well, that was the switch over. So he was on the Eagles, and then Andy Reid came in, and they didn't retain his duties. So that's kind of fired, right?
So Sean Payton's like, it's a tough business. I know every day I wake up, I might get fired tomorrow. I'm in that same boat as you, Russ.
Yeah. He basically, he's like 25 years ago, the Eagles brought in Andy Reid and they didn't extend my contract. So I know exactly how this could happen.
Yeah. Do you feel bad for Russell Wilson?
Hold on. Let me look up all the money he made. Let's see. Because that really
definitely
is like
plays a big part in it.
I do feel bad for him. On paper, I feel bad for him. But I also think there's a lot of this was his doing in his own. All right. So I guess I don't know how the rest of his contract, how much is guaranteed, but let's just say if he makes, I think he's going to make a bunch of this still. He's so far in his career made $266 million. If he makes the rest of his money, he makes $477 million. So no, I do not feel bad.
I feel bad for Russell Wilson the same way that I feel bad for Internet Explorer, where it's like it's hanging around. It was very useful for a long time, but it's just sad to see it on a desktop somewhere, and you just never want to use it ever again.
Or like
if you're forced into
Yahoo.
using it at any point, you know that your job is not going well.
Yeah. It's like, or like I'd feel bad for like Blockbuster. It's like, oh, that was a shame.
Yeah.
Like they really should have thought differently there.
Yeah. It was fun to like walk to Blockbuster on a snow day. The smell it used to have when I was a kid. That was cool. I remember that. I remember Blockbuster. So it makes me sad that it's not around.
Right. Yeah. Like I remember Russell Wilson when he was fun. It was fun. He was fun to watch. But it does feel like a lot of this was his doing. Like if you could hit him with truth serum, like, hey, dude, maybe you should have just stayed in Seattle. Like you had it pretty good there. I know that, Twitter got in your head a lot and said Russ should cook, but maybe it was a good idea that they always were trying to establish the run, even though they couldn't. That was probably good.
Yeah. We'll always have the danger witch.
Yeah. He definitely played himself out of a Hall of Fame career, right?
I don't know.
Remember when we did top quarterbacks all time? I think you had him 9. This was like 4 years ago. So I didn't disagree. Like I didn't think it was that crazy. But I think you had him like 9 or 10, and it's like he wouldn't be anywhere near that. Because it was right
really
when
good.
it was like he was really good. He had a Super Bowl. He had probably like 7, 8 years left. So you were just projecting, and I didn't disagree. I was just like, yeah, I mean, like if he just keeps being this good for a really long time, the way the league has gone, all like the best quarterbacks, quote unquote, are going to be in the last like 15 years. Yeah, it's not.
And then
sad.
And then when he left Seattle, that's when we all got to experience more of what Russell Wilson was all about. And we're like, as a country, we're like, that's too much Russell Wilson. In Seattle, he was nice. He was a little bit sheltered.
Yeah.
The media up there was very friendly to him. We didn't get all the stories from Marshawn Lynch about how they wouldn't talk to each other and how Marshawn had to like call his agent to talk to him. And then all that's come out in the last 2.5. It was really, it started with the finger injury when he came back from the finger injury, and he was doing the simulated reps on the field. He was doing the fake high fives. That's when Russ turned bad. That's when he broke bad.
It's actually a really interesting hypothetical. How quickly would America have hated Russell Wilson if he was drafted by the Giants?
Pretty quickly.
Like
I'd
the New
say.
York media would have, they would have found that out right away. They'd have been like, this guy's weird. And again, like Russell Wilson is not, he's not a bad guy at all. He's just a weird guy. There's a big difference, I think. Like he's not, that's where I would start to feel bad for him, because it's like he's not, there's nothing about him that is like truly a bad person. I think he's just a weird guy who's like, he kind of is like if like Gary V became a starting quarterback, where you're like, all right, this is a little much. I don't know.
I think if he was on the Jets, we would have hated him from day one. They play a little bit nicer with the Giants for whatever reason. If he was the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, America would have hated him in training camp his rookie year.
Yeah. I mean, he was one of my favorite Badger seasons, so I still have love for him there. But yeah, I guess to answer the original question, I'd say I feel 20% bad for Russell Wilson. And then if you show me how much money he's made, it goes down to 10%.
Yeah, you show me a picture of his wife, and I'm like, hey, he's doing okay.
Yeah, he's having he has a pretty good life. Okay. Last 2 games, Bengals and Chiefs. I think this is the get right spot for the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to beat them. I think the Chiefs, it's basically if Andy Reid, which is asking a lot, if Andy Reid can be like, hey, you know what we can do in this game? Just run the ball. We'll be fine, because, we've talked about it. The Bengals defense is not that good. DJ Reader being out has been a really big problem. You saw it last week with the Steelers and Mason Rudolph and how they ran the ball. So if the Chiefs are smart here, kind of like the Eagles, like just run the ball and win the game by 2 touchdowns and feel good about yourself.
We've started to see a little resurgence of Clyde Edwards-Helaire recently, which is always good, because he was a big time. What happened to that guy person? I would like to see them run the ball too. I just don't know if the Chiefs are capable of getting right. They might be so wrong that it's just, they might win ugly games, but I don't think that they're capable of flipping that switch and getting right.
Oh man, Memes just sent this to us, PFT. It is from April 15th, 2020, top 10 NFL quarterbacks since 1980. So this is peak COVID discussion. You had Russ at number 9, ahead of Patrick Mahomes.
That feels like it was a troll. You had Mahomes 10 too.
Yeah, but I had no one else, like everyone else that I had Mahomes. I didn't have anyone else who's current ahead of Mahomes. I had everyone whose career was over.
You had Steve Young ahead of Mahomes.
Yeah, and Mahomes would obviously get ahead of him. This was before he won his 2nd Super Bowl, but I didn't have anyone else current contemporary against Mahomes.
I'm looking at this list right now. I think we knocked it out of the park. These are lists.
I remember it vividly, like you saying Russell Wilson. I was like, and then you kind of convinced me. But yeah.
Well, in 2020, what had Mahomes done?
Yeah, he had 1 Super Bowl. I mean, the fact we had Mahomes on this list is pretty crazy. He had 1 Super Bowl. Hank was the only one who had Big Ben. Look at Hank.
He also had Bortles number
5. Oh, he had Bortles number 3. Yeah, okay, I didn't see that. Yeah. Yeah, so, and Russell Wilson is nowhere near top 10 now. That's a lot of football that's happened since then.
Nowhere near a top 10 now.
Nowhere near. Wait, so you like the Bengals or Chiefs?
If we're talking spread, I like the Bengals, but I think the Chiefs are going to win.
They have to get right. Okay, last game. Vikings, Packers. Jaron Hall playing for the Vikings. No Hawkinson, no Addison, I believe. It feels like Kevin O'Connell, who's done a great job this year keeping this team. Like, I do really feel bad for Vikings fans because this was the year if Kirk Cousins stays healthy, like they would not have been fraudulent. They would have been like, think about how wide open the NFL playoffs are going to be. The Vikings would have been absolutely live with Kirk Cousins and the way he was playing. And now Kevin O'Connell is stuck with like his fourth quarterback trying to be like, maybe this is the spark. He's just searching for a spark everywhere he goes. And it's Jaron Hall's turn.
Yeah. So the spread is Vikings -1, right?
Yeah, I think it was 2, and then Jaron Hall made it 1.
I love the Packers in this game.
I know.
I love them. Now they are missing a key component on defense.
Correct.
Jair Alexander. And we should talk about what happened with him because this might be my favorite story of the second half of the NFL season. He is from Charlotte. They were playing against the Carolina Panthers.
Which Matt LaFleur probably didn't know.
He might not have known.
Okay.
But Alexander nominated himself. He sent himself out onto the field as a captain before the game. And not only did he make himself a captain for that game without his coach's knowledge, but he also thought that since he's from Charlotte, to be fair, he's from Charlotte.
From Charlotte.
It was up to him to call the coin toss in the air. So he called the coin toss, and then he incorrectly told the referee that they wanted the defense on the field instead of deferring possession to the start of the second half. The ref stepped in and said, wait, what are you asking for? And corrected him so that he didn't give them double possessions on kickoffs. I think we should investigate the refs because they let the Packers get away with them.
That's a good point. But I agree with you. One of my favorite stories of the year, him doing the press conference at his locker with the Macho Man Randy Savage glasses and just being like, Coach didn't know I was from Charlotte. Like, I was going up there. And
everybody
and his whole
knows.
Teammates. Yeah, his teammates just being like, dude, what are you doing?
I put that on the other captains, actually. You have to nominate better captains and empower them to take leadership when they see a fake captain going out with them to be like, no, you're not a captain.
We talked about it last week with Rasul Douglas and how that was probably the worst trade in season this year. Imagine if the Packers had traded Jair Alexander, they probably would have gotten a lot more for him, and they would have kept the cornerback who can stay on the field and also is not crazy.
I love this though. He's just, who does that? Who's like, yeah,
well, he's from Charlotte.
He probably didn't know I was from Charlotte. So if he had known, then he definitely would have made me the captain, the speaking captain, in fact. Yeah,
I mean, he's from Charlotte. Like, he's got to get everyone. He's from Charlotte. I don't know what Matt LaFleur was thinking. Like, the dude's from Charlotte.
I blame Joe Barry for this, actually.
Oh,
he should have said something about it.
I had a lot of Packers fans also hit me up. It'd be about like they're like, all we talked about at Christmas was Joe Barry.
Did you know that Joe Barry was I think he was the defensive coordinator on the Lions team that went 0-16.
Ooh, he was Will Compton's coach too. On the Redskins. Yeah. Yeah. It's I like the Packers too here, which is probably stupid because if both of us love a side, usually we're really dumb. Okay, should we do our picks then? Let's do our picks. So I don't even know what the standings are. Does anyone know what the standings are? I think Hank's eliminated.
I don't think he's officially eliminated. I think I'm up 2.5 points on him. 3.5. Okay. I don't know.
Jake didn't send us the standings. I'll ask him for the standings right now. Why don't we just say let's just give Hank and Jake's picks. We'll give them their first picks and then we'll go from there. So Hank sent the picks to Max, his picks to Max. Max, what are Hank's picks?
Let me pull it up real quick. His picks are Patriots +13, Ravens, Dolphins over 47.5.
Okay, so that's his two picks, and Jake's two picks are the Bucks -2.5 and the Bears Falcons under 37.5. So Max, you want to go first? And we'll go Snake.
Sure. I'm actually going to fade Hank. I like Bills minus 13.
Okay. Memes.
I'm gonna go Niners. 12.5.
Okay.
Okay. PFT.
I'm going to take the Packers +1.
Okay. I'm going to take, so I got 2 here. I will go with the over in Rams Giants 43.5. And then I'm going to take the Cowboys minus 5.5. And PFT.
I'm going to take over in Houston, Tennessee, 43.5.
Oh, Hank is eliminated. I have the standings.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, Jake is at 20.5. Max is at 17.5. Memes is at 17. So Max and Memes, this is very important.
I was gonna say that we should do
Max?
another pick. It's the holidays.
What'd you say, Max?
I'm just going to lose on the last second in historic fashion again in week 18.
Yeah,
that's the only way it's going to go. It's going to be me and Hank getting punished again. It's going to be it. It is what it is.
And then in the main show, I have 22.5 points. PFT, you have 20. Hank has 15.5. So yeah, it's over.
Okay. Yeah, it's over.
Yeah. So if he wins 4, he gets 19.5. You already beat him. All right. So Memes and Max, what are your picks? Because these are very important.
I'm gonna go over 44 in the Bengals Chiefs game.
Okay. Max.
I have over 44 as well. I thought you were going to take my pick. I will go over 44 in Texans Titans.
Ooh.
I already took that.
Oh, you did? Fuck
Shit.
me.
And it's 43.5 is what I'm looking at right now.
Shit.
You dick. I'll go over. This game sucks. I'll go over 38 Falcons Bears.
Ooh. We'll give you 37.5 because that's what Jake has.
All right. Love it. 37.5.
Okay. Those are our picks. We got Hot Seat Cool Thrones. So we got Hot Seat Cool Thrones. We never show on Wednesday. Hot Seat Cool Thrones brought to you by our friends at Coors Light. Coors Light helps you find moments to unwind. Big work presentation. Follow it with a happy hour, some friends, and a cold Coors Light. Weekend chores. Take Saturday off and hit the tailgate. Even if you don't have tickets to the game, whenever you need to hit reset, reach for a Coors Light. It's made to chill. There's only one beer out there that's literally made to chill, and that's Coors Light. The mountains on the bottles and cans even turn blue when your beer is cold. That way you always know when it's time to chill. When you need to hit reset, just open a Coors Light. It's mountain cold refreshment made to chill. Coors Light is the one I choose when I need to unwind. I've had a couple Coors Light this week. They really hit different in the desert. It's nothing like a Coors Light in the desert. So when you want to hit reset, reach for the beer that's made to chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/take. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. CoorsLight.com/take. Hot Seat Cool Throne, PFT.
My hot seat is Liberty. I'm putting Liberty on the hot seat.
Oh, I like this.
On my flight out here to Arizona earlier this week, I happened to be on a plane that I had a layover in Los Angeles. And the connecting flight that I took into Phoenix was with the Oregon football team. And so they were all on the plane. They are so fucking big. They are huge. They're so strong. And 17 points is
Brian
not nearly
Windhorst.
enough points.
Brian
They're so
Windhorst?
strong.
And he's so
They're
strong.
so strong. And they've got great haircuts. They've got a bunch of mullets. They look like they're ready to play. They were pumped up. They were high five. I was sitting next to this one guy who I think he was maybe, I'm going to guess he was the mascot, either the mascot or like an equipment manager. But every player that walked past him reached over to him and dapped him up on the way back there.
Wait, how were you on the same flight as the Oregon football team?
It was a connecting flight in LA. Somehow that they also connected in LA to go to Arizona.
Wait, it was their flight? Like you were on the same plane as them?
Yeah.
That's crazy because I thought like I saw a video on like SportsCenter of them getting off the flight. Did they do the weird, did you get off the flight like out of a gate or did you go down like the staircase?
No, I got off the flight onto a gate and then walked like through the airport like a normal person.
Huh. That's crazy. I mean, that's cool.
Maybe there were a couple guys that didn't take that flight but there were at least I'm
Well-
going to say 25 or 30 Oregon football players on this flight.
That even goes more to your point, because it could have been like the backups or non-scholarship guys, and if they're big, whew,
Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe they're so big that they had to take two separate flights because they would have overloaded the plane.
they're so big.
But I can tell you, I did not see Bo Nix, so I don't think that Bo Nix was on this flight. But they're so big; they're way bigger than Liberty. So This might just be because I saw a bunch of football players up close, and I'm like, oh, these guys are way bigger than they look on TV. They looked huge, so I'm hammering Oregon this weekend.
No, I was on a flight from Chicago to Arizona with the Liberty team, and they were just all stowed in the
overhead.
In the overhead. So I'm with you.
Yeah, this seems to me like a big team against a little team. Also, Liberty has dead last strength of schedule in all of college football. So I think Oregon's going to have something to prove. And I think that most of Oregon's players are playing this weekend too. And then my cool throne is fullbacks. We're announcing the Low Man Trophy in the pregame, I believe, at the Barstool Bowl. You can see it on the CW, same network as Live, no big deal. We have a winner. I've collected all the votes this week. We have a very special winner that we're looking to announce in that pregame show. I will tell you the three finalists right now for the best fullback in college football. We did the long list earlier. Now it's been narrowed to three. The top three vote getters: Ernest Crownrower from Texas A&M, Stone Eby from SMU, and then Ben Sinnott from Kansas State. And we have a very special presentation. A legend in the fullback community will be presenting the award to them via video call. But I'm excited to announce it. It's one of my favorite things that we do. Recognize the fullbacks. They're an unheralded group of guys. They don't get any of the shine. This is their time, the Low Man Trophy.
I love it. I love it. So yeah, we have so everyone do tune in. It's going to be a great time. Toledo versus Wyoming, 4:00 Eastern, Saturday. I'll be doing the anthem. PFT will be in the pregame and the halftime. I'll be on the call with Jake and Dave. It's going to be a great time. We had a great time last year doing it. It's going to be a great time this year doing it.
It's always super funny when you get Jake in the booth with you and Dave.
Yes.
Because you can tell which way you're leaning at certain times, and then Jake's always playing it like the straightest that you can possibly play it. It's a good dynamic.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about this game because I have Wyoming's coach is retiring, and he's been there for a long time, and he's like an old salty coach. I kind of like him, but my heart is with Toledo. We're friends with Jason Candle. We gave the scholarship, the NIL deal. I won a national title there. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm really stuck. Yeah. I'm really stuck. So
you got to make a special House Divided shirt for yourself.
Yeah.
Toledo, Montana.
Yeah. Wyoming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tune in for the first 5 minutes of the game. You'll figure out which side I bet. Guaranteed. All right. My hot seat is Ja Morant. Because there was a story released today from Tom Haberstra, he's a great writer, but this one did make me laugh. His story was more about how there's like basically the beat writers are like don't exist anymore, and like it's a problem because things aren't getting covered. But it was a story about how Ja Morant called a referee a hoe last year after a game, and that headline made me laugh so hard. I was just like, well, I mean, the ref was probably being a hoe, if we're being honest, right?
Yeah.
Like
which ref was it? That makes a difference
right?
too.
Well, I had to look it up because I was like, wait, if it's a female ref, then obviously this is it was a male ref, so we're good.
Well, also like maybe it's possible that she was being a hoe too.
Yeah. Refs can be hoes. Refs can be hoes.
Yeah. That's a very funny story though. Like this is why journalism is dying in America, is because we didn't know that Ja Morant called this ref a hoe until just now.
Yes. Oh man. So and then my cool throne is
with Ja. I love Ja's celebration that he did the night where he just took the finger guns out after a dunk. That you think he was like happy after he did that, or it was just like muscle memory where he just did the guns and then he was, oh fuck, that's the one thing that I shouldn't do.
No, I think he probably like part of the therapy was like you need to get it out some way. Like it's like, people who are struggling with addiction might get addicted to something else, like they might, vape or like, drink
Exercise.
soda, exercise, like do real estate deals, whatever it may be. But like
Yeah.
this might be good for him.
Yeah. I would rather Ja Morant be waving his fingers around in the shape of guns than
Right.
actual guns. This is
Right.
We should be celebrating that as progress.
Exactly. And then my cool throne is bowl season. I was down on bowl season because of the NILs and well, actually not the NILs. I don't know why I said that. I sound like an old man there. Actually, Minnesota. Did you see that? The story that Minnesota needed, they didn't have a quarterback. So their third string quarterback had just gotten engaged. He's like 25 and he was like going to go move to Arizona and start his life. And because they needed a quarterback, they paid him $30,000 in NIL money to play, and they won.
I like that.
Yeah, it's awesome. But there's something about bowl season. Every year it sucks me in. It's like you're sitting there, in this weird, like Christmas to New Year's, like time doesn't exist. I've had to ask myself what day it is every single day. But you're watching the Pop-Tart Bowl. Like there's a bowl game, at Fenway Park today that looked miserable. The Miami just having to play in a cold weather city is like the easiest bet against every single year in bowl season. Rutgers just wanted it way more. So I love bowl season. I'll never quit bowl season. I know that people are down on it with the transfer portal and the opt-outs, but I fucking love bowl season.
The one thing we have to make sure to unlearn though is at the start of next year, if there's a quarterback that sucked in a bowl game, we can't automatically think this guy stinks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
which
no,
I'm not going to follow through on that.
No, I don't agree to that. Maybe the
I'm
only
not gonna
draft
follow through on
analysis
it, but
the only draft analysis I've ever gotten right was Paxton Lynch sucks. And that was based on a bowl game.
yeah, but this is like, I'm saying this to make myself smart in the future, but I also know that I'm not going to take my own advice.
Yeah, don't do that.
I'm just saying in this moment, while I'm saying it right now, this is the smart thing to do.
Yeah. But I see even in this moment, I disagree. Just let your heart wants what the heart wants.
Yeah.
It's to make decisions on players in meaningless games. Okay. Let's get to our interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Awesome interview.
Great interview. And Arnold's being brought to you by our good friends over at Game Time. I love Game Time. Game Time's the best. If you're looking for tickets to a bowl game, if you're looking for tickets to college football playoff, if you're looking for NFL tickets, hockey tickets, basketball tickets, there's one place to go. That's Game Time. They just don't do sports. They also do music, comedy, and theater events near you. Game Time is the easiest to use. You get last-minute deals, flash deals, zone deals, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. They're obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. If you're looking to go to an NFL game this weekend, use Game Time. It's the best way to get the best price. You're always going to be happy with Game Time. They also guarantee every ticket that's sold there. And with zone deals, you can pick the section and Game Time picks the seats for an average of 18% savings. They're also the easiest app to use in terms of transferring tickets. If you're trying to send tickets to a family member, all you have to do is text it. Super easy to do. Game Time's the best, and you always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code PMT, get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code PMT for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And now, here's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay, we now welcome on a very, very, very special guest. He might be the most famous person that we've ever had on this show. It is Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, movie star, weightlifting legend, governor. He's done it all. He's got a new book out. It's called Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life. So, Arnold, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. We're huge, huge fans of you, and this is a thrill for us. I wanted to start with the book, though. We're not very useful people. We're kind of bums. So what in the book can you tell us that will help us being more useful in life?
Well, first of all, it is a great pleasure to be on your show. And I've admired your show. I think you guys are really entertaining. And I happen to disagree right off the top with you when you say you're not useful, because the stuff that you do and the amount of entertainment that you bring to people and fun stuff is really incredible. And so I think that you should call yourself useful. Now, if it's a question about how to be more useful, I think that I think everyone is striving for that. I always strive for that. How can I be more useful? How can I be more successful? How can I be happier? How can I be better in what I do and all that stuff? That's what makes us really have an exciting life, to always strive for being better. And that's what makes it also fun to get up in the morning when you have a mission. I want to be better. I want to train harder. I want to get in better shape. And, I want to have more effect on our community and what I do and all that stuff. And that's, I think, what the book is about, is to inspire people how to be better and how to be, great, and how to be happy. Because when you think about that, the 78% of the people in America hate their jobs. So that that's not a good statistic.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think that we can do better than that. I always loved everything that I did, even though I had my losses and my downfalls and my good times and my victories and all that stuff. But I always loved what I was doing. And so I want to make sure that people, kind of can read about the 7 tools that I used, how to be more successful and how to really feel good about the stuff that I do, and where you feel like, you're marching in the right direction.
I do think 7 tools is an accurate way to describe this podcast too. We might not be as useful as you, but what would you say would be like the most important tool?
Well, I think that the vision, I put this number 1 in my book, be useful, because I think that vision is the most important thing. If you don't have a very clear vision of what you want to accomplish in life, and if you don't have a very clear vision where you want to go, you don't have anything. You're just kind of like drifting around. And I see this with a lot of people when they don't have a goal or a specific kind of a mission or purpose to get up for in the morning. When you get up in the morning, you have to have a purpose, to know what you're going to do in life or that day. That makes it fun. I think if you don't have that, you drift around and you get lost.
Yeah.
And I think this is what happens to a lot of young people and even older people. And so what I'm trying to do is just show them how do you create a vision, and tell them the story about how when I was, 10 years old, I had a very clear vision of coming to America. When I was 15 years old, I had a very clear vision of becoming a bodybuilding champion and being the greatest bodybuilder of all time. And then later on how I wanted to get into movies and be a leading man in the movies. And all of those kind of things is I accomplished because I had a very clear vision. I saw it. It's kind of see it, believe it, achieve it. That old saying. And I saw that how it works firsthand. And I used it with everything that I did. And it really worked. And so this is just 1 out of 7 tools, is have a very clear vision. Another one that I think it's very important is, not to listen to the naysayers, because you could have a very clear vision and you tell this to people. It says, look, I want to be a great actor. I want to be a leading man. And they say, oh, that's stupid. I mean, you're never going to make that. What do you think? Hollywood is going to wait for you and all that stuff. So I heard all of those things. Well, you want to come to America? That is crazy. You want to go to America because what do you think? They're going to wait for you? That they need another person over there? That's never going to happen. When I said I want to be a bodybuilding champion, they say, oh, no. Austria has ski champions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have bicycling champions. We have track and field champions, soccer champions, but we don't have bodybuilding champions. That's an American sport. What are you talking about? This would never happen. So it was always no, no, no. Everything was always impossible. Even when I got into movies, I remember in the 70s, they said you would never make it in the movies. You would never be a leading man because you have an accent and you have this overdeveloped body that is not in now. In the 70s, the little guys that are in. And then you have this name, Schwarzenegger. You have to change that. So forget about it.
Yeah,
So it was always no, no, no. But I didn't listen to the naysayers. I had my own vision and I had my own goal. And I said to myself, okay, if it is so difficult to climb that ladder, then I'm just going to create my own ladder and I'm going to climb that and I'm going to make it up there no matter what.
Yeah.
You did a great job. I did read that when you started acting that your name was not Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was Arnold Strong for your first couple movies. How did you come up with that name?
No, the producer did. I hated it because I remember when I did the movie Hercules in New York, which is a movie that my first movie ever that went right in the toilet. And they changed my name to Arnold Strong. And but then when I did the next project, like with Lucille Ball, Happy Anniversary and Goodbye, which was a TV show that she did a 2-hour special with Art Carney. You know, then there was Arnold Schwarzenegger again. Then for Stay Hungry, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger again, pumping iron. So all of these other projects after that was Arnold Schwarzenegger, because I thought it was stupid to change the name for what? I mean, you know, the idea, and that was absolutely right. That the body worked on the end, because I remember when we did Conan the Barbarian, John Milius, the director, said, "Hey, if we wouldn't have had Schwarzenegger, we would have had to build one." Because I was the only one that really had the muscles to play Conan the Barbarian. There was no one around to play that character.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why they never really filmed it. And so then when I did Terminator, Jim Cameron said, "Hey, Schwarzenegger, if we wouldn't have had his accent and him talking like a machine, this would have never worked of him playing a machine." You know, so then all of a sudden the accent was welcome.
Yeah.
And and then later on with the name, as far as the name was concerned, it was like all of a sudden it became hip to keep your name with the idea that if people cannot you know, pronounce your name or remember your name, by the time they learn it, they will never forget it. So that was the idea. So, you know, people like Gina Lollobrigida and the actresses and actors like that with complicated names kept the name, and it became fashionable to keep your name.
It's your career is amazing, because I watched the documentary, which was great. Everyone should go watch it. You kind of alluded to it, that you set out to do all these things, and you went out and accomplished them, like Mr. Olympia, and then the movies, and then politics. Like, you basically were like, I'm gonna go do that, and then I did it. So was there ever a moment, because I think in life there's a lot of times, successful people can sometimes forget like the failures or the points where you almost gave up. Was there ever a moment that you said like, all right, I'm done, this isn't going to work out? Because it does feel like everything you set out to do, you just did, which is so inspiring.
Well, in the end, I did it. But on the way there, yes, there's always failures. I remember in bodybuilding, I lost the first few bodybuilding competitions. I remember that the first Mr. Universe contest I went to in 1966, I lost against an American by the name of Chet Yorton, who was the Mr. America, and then he won Mr. Universe. So I was 19 years old. That was okay. With the age of 20, I went back to the Mr. Universe contest, and I won it, and I became the youngest Mr. Universe ever. And then after that, I was winning and winning and winning. And then there was another obstacle. I remember in the Mr. Olympia competition, there was Sergio Oliva, who was an extraordinary Cuban kind of bodybuilding champion that now lived in Chicago. And he was unbelievable. So he beat me. In 1969, he won Mr. Olympia, and I came second. But the following year, I went back and I won against him in 1970. So, on the way up there, yes, there were losses in powerlifting, losses in weightlifting, losses in bodybuilding, and also politically. I remember I won the race for governor, and then literally like a year later, there was a special election that we held here in California, where I wanted to get certain things passed by the people, and all those 4 initiatives lost, because the people basically sent a message to me, say, don't come to us with your problems. We elected you to work with the legislators, so you work it out with them. And so they voted it down. And so again, it was a huge defeat. And people said, oh, in 2006, a year later, he's going to lose the governorship. But I came back again. I told the people, there was a mistake to have 4 initiatives like this on the ballot. I should work with the legislators. And the people forgave me for it. And then I came back and then won with 57% of the votes. I won the governorship the second time. And so, so yes, there are losses along the way and setbacks along the way. And I don't forget them, because the fact is we learn, sometimes even more from the failures than we do from the successes.
Yeah.
And so you have to be very honest. When you fail, you have to be very, very honest. And you have to say, I fucked up.
Yeah.
Here's what I did wrong. And then analyze it and they take the blame for it, and then not kind of like blame someone else for it and say, well, it's his fault and her fault and this fault and that fault. No, you've got to go and just look in the mirror and say, you fucked up and here's what you did wrong. And then just write that down and then deal with that and improve on it the next time. So that's exactly what I've always done when I had a failure like that.
That's a great answer. Yeah.
Yeah, just admitting your fuck ups goes a long way if you're being honest about it.
Oh, absolutely. You got to be honest and just say, I did something wrong here, because otherwise you would never learn.
Yeah.
You would never learn if you don't admit it and just recognize the problems that you had. I mean, you would never learn.
Yeah, you brought up the governorship, the Governator, which was an awesome nickname.
Unbelievable.
That you had. I mean, how could you vote against the Governator? You had like a built-in campaign slogan there, especially for re-election. So there's another movie star that's, I think, getting into politics. Kind of followed, I guess you could say, like a similar trajectory to yourself, different a little bit, but The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. I feel like he's priming us to get into politics at some point. Have you reached out to him? Have you talked to him about a future in politics?
No, I've known him for many, many years, and he and I are friends, and he has been kind enough, when I ran for governor and then became governor, to take over the after-school program movement that I was in charge of, that I started, 30 years ago, After School All-Stars. So he was the honorary chair for a year until we found somebody else, to do it. And he did a great, great job. And he was very, very helpful. And he was very helpful with my race for governor and everything like that. So we have really been communicating, and I've admired his career. And so he's an extraordinary human being with a tremendous amount of willpower and multiple talents. Someone that is so well versed in wrestling, and then in acting, show business, and all of that. I mean, he's really, really talented. And so I'm very happy for him. And if he ever, reaches across and wants to go and get out of acting and go into politics, I'm more than happy to talk to him about that. If he needs or wants any advice from me.
Yeah. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your movies. So we're children of the 90s. So you were a seminal part of our childhood. The first question I have about your movies, when you were doing Terminator 2, did you at any point realize that you were going to scare an entire country of children with T-1000, and then actually, in a weird way, like I grew up being like Arnold Schwarzenegger would save my life if I ever get a robot that's coming after me, because T-1000 was the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life, and you thankfully you were there to save the day.
Well, I mean, I have to say that Jim Cameron, the director who wrote, Terminator 2 and Terminator 1, of course, too, in order, and directed it. He really came up with this concept. And I remember that when he came to me and he says, in this movie, you will play the good guy. And I said to myself, why is he doing that? It worked so well in the first one when it was really the machine, the bad guy that just destroys everything. Why would he want to change that? And so I had kind of a negative attitude about it until I read the script. When I read the script, I got it. And I just thought he did such a brilliant job with that, how he turned that whole thing around and how he had the Terminator come back to actually save, the humanity and the human race, and not the machines. And how he then created this T-1000. I kind of played the outdated model, the T-800. So then there was the T-1000 that could do all kinds of additional stuff that I could not do. And so it was a real, real threat. And I think that's what created the suspense in the movie and why it became the most popular movie that year. It was the #1 box office success, not only domestically, but also internationally. And I cannot even take the credit for that, because Jim Cameron really has to get all the credit for that, because he created the characters and he directed it. So he was really the genius of this whole thing.
It's an incredible movie. Also, how often do people ask you to say "Get to the Chopper"? I know that's a different movie, but day to day.
Well, I mean, it's like the people, when I ride the bike through the streets in Santa Monica or Venice, I mean, people call out many times, scream loud, "Get to the chopper!" And I said, that's really funny, Put the cookie down. Someone will come up to me and just says, "I'll be back," in a very dramatic way and stuff. So, people throw my movie lines around all the time. I hear it all the time. And the funny thing about it is, I tell you guys, that you never really know when you do the movie that this is going to be a very much quoted movie line, that people are going to like that and they're going to repeat it over and over and all this stuff. You don't know. When we shot "I'll Be Back" in Terminator 1, we did not know that anyone is going to repeat that line.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing was, we get to the chopper. Well, get to the chopper, I think people just think it's funny because I don't say chopper, with an R on the end. I just say chopper. And so they imitate that when they scream loud on the street, "Get to the chopper!" So that's the funny thing. It's just the way I pronounce things that makes it then funny, and that's why people repeat
and
it.
It's memorable.
They're
it's so
iconic,
memorable. Yeah, that's the part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Terminator 2 was a great film. I'm a little bit nervous interviewing you just because I've seen you so much, and you were such like a big part of my childhood. As a guy that played Terminator, you were like first on the scene for Skynet. What are your actual feelings on AI? Were you thinking like AI is going to actually destroy the world?
Well, interestingly, that when I filmed Terminator 1, I really looked at it as a purely science fiction type of a movie. Then, as we went on with time, decade after decade, all of a sudden I realized, oh my God, we are actually going in that direction. And what Jim Cameron wrote about is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That the machines are now so sophisticated, so far ahead of human way of thinking, that they are so far ahead. And now the big fear is, how do you make sure they don't become self-aware, like in Terminator 2, and where the machines take over. So this is, I think, the fear that everyone has. Where is this going to lead, and how do we still control all of this, and how can we stop it from getting to that point? So that's why I always said that Terminator 1 was written so brilliantly by Jim Cameron that originally it was kind of like a B movie, an action movie. But then when the movie came out, they realized, wow, this is, intellectually speaking, really a very sophisticated movie, not just an action movie. The action is there, yeah, it's the visual kind of feast, but the meaning behind all of that, and the writing behind it, and what it meant. That's why I think Time Magazine, for instance, picked it as one of the 10 top movies of the year, and they normally never pick an action movie like that.
Yeah.
So I think that people really were celebrating the brilliant writing and the sophistication of the script that Jim Cameron wrote at that time.
Yeah, it also taught us that if that ever happens, we just need Arnold.
Yeah.
Like we just need to call
Save
you
the day.
you
Yeah.
personally, and you'll stop
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
To a bunch of kids, you were like a true hero. Are you? I assume you're still lifting. What do you?
Yeah, I go every day. I bike down to the gym, and I work out every day for half hour, 45 minutes with weights. And so I do a combination of cardiovascular training and also weight training. And, it's kind of like an addiction of mine. So
Yeah.
I have to do it every day. This is what sets off the day. My day starts out by feeding the animals, my pig and my 3 dogs and my miniature donkey and my miniature pony and all those animals. They come into the house, and I feed them, and then they all go out and they have a good time. So it's really funny. And then after that, I've done that. That takes me usually an hour. Then after that, I go to the gym and bicycle down, and then I work out, and then I come back into my work.
Do you still go for like max on anything? Do you still bench and
No.
squat? No.
I don't know. I mean, I had my first heart surgery in 1997. And so after the heart surgery, I was advised not to kind of lift that heavy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so I then did more reps and less weight because I didn't want to kind of like put extra pressure on the valves. You know, I had to replace my aortic valve and my pulmonary valve. So they said, don't put any additional pressure on those valves. Otherwise, they would not last for 15, 20 years, which they will if you don't lift any heavy weights. And so I was very lucky. I was like, they lasted like, 25 years almost. And because I listened to the doctors and I was watching a little bit more what I eat. I don't eat as much meat anymore, even though I love it. Making a steak every so often and eating Wiener Schnitzel and all this stuff. But I mean, I've cut down around 70% of my meat intake, which is better for the heart and for your health. And that's it. So I listen to the doctors.
Yeah. This is a random name. You might not know who I'm about to say, but do you recognize the name Steve Mahalik at all?
Sure.
What?
He was Mr. America back in, I think, in the 70s or beginning 80s.
Yeah.
I remember him, yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever work out with him? Did you ever cross paths?
I worked out. He was always known for his wide shoulders and for his great build. I mean, interesting enough, he was one of those typical American bodybuilders that, that had kind of the wide shoulders, small waist. He was good looking. He just, whenever he went to the Mr. Universe contest, people knew, oh, this is the American.
Yeah.
Mr. America.
He knew all religions.
He looked like a Mr. America. Yeah. He was fantastic.
He was incredible guy. Yeah. That makes me happy that you knew him.
We've got a friend of his that works with us here, and he's always talking about Steve Mahalik. Very versed in every religion. He knew all religions.
Yes, great guy. And incredible strength. He trained with him. So he's, it's I'm just fascinated with the bodybuilding and just, I mean, it's crazy to watch because you said it's like an addiction. How, like, when you felt at your peak, how good did you feel every day? Like, do you think about that? Do you think like, man, when I was 19, 20 years old and I was at my absolute peak, like I just walk around and felt good every day?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, it really is a great feeling, to be strong. It's a great feeling to have energy. I was running every day in the deep sand before working out and sometimes after working out. And you just feel like, King Kong.
Yeah.
It was great. And to be able to lift these weights. I mean, I was deadlifting then over 700 pounds and I was bench pressing with over 500 and squatting with over 600. And so, I was competing in powerlifting also and in Olympic lifting and weightlifting. So, I mean, I felt fantastic. And I think this is the thing that I'm talking about in is to be useful is how important it is that we do something physical.
Yes.
Where you train really hard. And it doesn't just have to be bodybuilding. Anything where you exert and you do something that you feel like really productive, and you've done something for yourself, you've gotten in great shape because of this training and all this. It doesn't matter what it is, you can walk up Mount Everest and climb up there. It makes you feel good that you've accomplished something really great. And I think it gives you a positive attitude. And I see it, for instance, when I go to the gym in the morning, I feel like, okay. But then after the workout and I bicycle back, I feel great.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like you're going from a black and white movie to a color movie, all of a sudden, because it's just the way you see things all of a sudden in a much more positive way. And this is why I say to people, I said, the working out is not just to get a bigger bicep or bigger delts and bigger pectoral muscles and abs. Notice it. it's just what it does also psychologically and mentally for you. It gives you such a boost. And this is something why I say I'm addicted to working out, because I have to do it every day and it makes me feel good.
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
the endorphins going. I mean, the famous quote from Pumping Iron, it feels like you're coming. You're coming all the time when you're working out.
Yes.
You still get that feeling?
That was more a publicity stunt.
So you didn't feel like you were
because-
coming. I've been working out trying to
I've been
come.
waiting to come.
I've been trying to come for 15 years in the gym, and I've never gotten there. I thought there was something wrong with me.
No, I don't think everything is okay with you. I mean, everything is okay with you. No, but you have to understand that in those days, to go and to get big stories written as a bodybuilder, as a football player, you could get any story written, or as a tennis player or baseball player, you could get any story written that you wanted to. But as a bodybuilder, it was very, very difficult. So you had to be kind of like really way out there of the things that you say, so that it's quotable. And then people say, "Oh my God, I got to write a story on this guy. This guy just said, he's coming all the time. He's coming in the gym, pumping up. He's coming backstage. He's coming at home. Day and night he's coming. I mean, this is like unbelievable." And so then they wrote the story. So it actually made it. And my goal was actually right. And, my take on it, I mean, I always knew how to sell. That's why one of the chapters in my book, Be Useful, is sell, 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 because it's all about how do you sell something. So when I met Muhammad Ali, I was so excited about talking to him, because he was the person that was selling boxing in the 70s more than anyone. And there was just such excitement when he fought, because he was Muhammad Ali and he was more than just a fighter.
Yeah.
And the way he talked, his poetry, how generous he was, how he gave his money away, and his religion, but everything was just interesting about him. And I said to myself, well, I want to be the Muhammad Ali of bodybuilding. I want to really not only lift weights for myself, but I want to lift the entire sport. How can I do that? And so I even hired a publicist for one of the competitions that we had out here that Franco Colombo and I organized, called the Mr. International. And this publicist got us on talk shows and interviews and in magazines and newspapers. But we knew that we had to say outrageous things so that people go and write about it. And it worked 100%.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It really did. You had me fooled.
It did. I mean, it also made sense because, like, this guy's just pumping so much iron. Like, his muscles are enormous. I just, I would feel, I've never felt as good, like, waking up that you, like, in your entire life, you've probably felt better every single day than I have ever felt. So I aspire to be like that.
Very nice. So that means that you're working out every day.
I'm not. I need to. I need to do something physical every day. I use my mind. I need to do something physical.
Arnold, I had a question about, you were talking about like reading a script and being like, this is a very good script. I think it's going to be a great movie. I think that there are a lot of movies that you're in where you elevate the movie to being a classic. Like I'm thinking Predator, I'm thinking Commando, I'm thinking all the Terminators you in. But when you're reading a movie, are you imagining yourself as that character? Or what about a script that come across your desk do you look at and you're like, yes, this is a good project for me to be involved with?
Yeah, so I read it, of course, with me in mind. When someone sends me a script and says, I want you to play, Max in this movie. So then, of course, you visualize yourself playing that character and the way it's written and all that stuff. But to me, the important thing is always, how great is the action in the script? How great is the story itself? Does it have any emotional value? Where it goes up and down, the emotions and all that? Does it have any kind of sense of humor in there? And this is a story that will sell worldwide. Because I'm not interested in just doing a project for one country, let's say America. To me, that is great to entertain the American people. It's my number one goal, because that's where most of the money is, in box office, on TV and so on. But I also have to think at the same time about, is this something that will sell well in South Africa or in the Middle East or in Australia or in Asia and stuff like that. So I always try to think, I've always been a global person because in bodybuilding you travel around the world. So I always felt kind of like I should entertain the world, not just one country. And I think it used to be back in the 70s and 80s or in the beginning of the 80s, the studios always kind of frowned upon that idea because they said the only three places that are important are America, Japan, and Germany. That's where we sell most of our tickets. And I said, but it's a limited way of thinking because you should actually groom the audience in other countries as well and not just get stuck with those three countries. And they didn't understand it when I said, I want to do Conan the Barbarian. I want to promote it in 10 different countries. They said, well, we don't have 10 countries to go to. I said, bullshit. I said, create it. I said, the movie is coming out in France. The movie is coming out in England, in Germany, in Austria, in Holland, in Finland, in Denmark, in Sweden, in Italy, in Spain, and all those places. They said, so I want to go there. And I want to promote myself, and I want to promote the movie.
Yeah.
And they said, well, no actor has ever done that. I said, well, I care what some actor did or not did. I said, I always break new grounds. I said, that's my mission in life. I never wait for someone else to show me the way. I said, I show the way.
Yeah.
And so they sent me to those countries. And then afterwards, when I came back, they said, oh my God, this is amazing. We doubled the income the ticket sales that we thought we were going to make because you were there in those countries. I said, well, hello, of course. And so I always promoted my movies internationally. And I always kind of looked at it as an international, marketplace, international marketplace rather than just domestic marketplace. And I think it all has to do with that. I was more international thinking coming from Europe, from Austria. And number two, because, I studied economics in college, and it was very clear that there is a growing international kind of a marketplace in everything, and that we would be in a global economy eventually. And so this was now in the 70s I'm talking about, and exactly that's the direction we went. And so I'm so happy that I did travel around internationally and promoted my movies. The same is with the book, Be Useful. I do the same thing. I go to England, I go to other countries, Germany, to Austria, and stuff like that, to promote the book internationally because I wanted to sell internationally.
Yeah. So this has been incredible, Arnold. It's like a thrill for us. Everyone should go buy your book, Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life. We had a couple last quick questions. I'll do the rowback question real quick. RHOBACK.com. Use promo code TAKE. 20% off your first purchase. Q-zips, polos, hoodies, joggers, shorts, everything. Great workout gear. Rowback.com. Promo code TAKE. Maybe this has been done, but this is just an idea, free idea for you for a documentary, which everyone should go watch your documentary that came out a few months ago. But Schwarzenegger versus Stallone was one of the best rivalries because the world just got bigger movies and bigger guns and more action. And the fact that you guys ended your rivalry by investing in a Planet Hollywood together is the most 90s story possible. Maybe we get that? Like, would that be... It was a fun time. Do you look back on it, even though there was some real bad blood? Like, look back on it and be like, that was kind of good for the audience.
Well, it was also good for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just remember that Stallone, by being so good, made me better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a competition. If you go to the Olympics and you're the only one that is running the 100-meter sprint, you're not going to get the performance out of it as if a bunch of guys are chasing you. And so it's always kind of the competition that creates performance. And so Stallone, by being good, it made me better. And by me getting better, made him better. And so we kind of drove each other up and up and up in making more and more money in the box office, using bigger and bigger knives, killing more and more people on the screen,
Exactly.
and using bigger and bigger guns, and all of this crazy stuff. And, but one thing was always clear, that we respected each other.
Yeah.
I always respected him for his talent he had in directing, his talent he had in writing, his talent he had in acting, and in all of this kind of, and also in painting and other things like that. So and he respected me. So now, of course, when we did our Planet Hollywood deal and we became partners in a Planet Hollywood deal, then we really started hanging out together, flying around the world and promoting the restaurant chain. And we had a great time.
Yeah.
We became great friends.
We need the documentary.
It's a great documentary. I don't know how many debates have happened all over America back in like 1994. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger could kick Sly Stallone's ass. No, he couldn't. Like that was actually like a talking point that we would have. We'd sit down and debate that. For the record, I think you would have kicked his ass.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. I'm going to take that as
I'm going to take that as a yes. I'm going to take that as a yes.
He would have had a great battle.
Yes, yes.
Was there a movie where you went to and you're watching Sly and you're like, you know what? That is a very cool gun that he has. I need to make a note of that, and we need that gun with a modification when I come back in my next film because I can't let him outgun me.
Well, every movie that Sly did, I just watched it a few times, and then I just called the guys, the prop guys in the movie, on my next movie and said, okay, watch this movie and get me bigger guns. I said it was not even a modification. I remember that Sly in Rambo ran around with a machine gun under his arm. And I said, guys, I want a machine gun that is mounted on a tank or that is mounted on a helicopter that I am using. And so that's exactly what they then created.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was total madness. Then I said, I called the prop guy, I said, what kind of a knife did you use in this movie? And they said, well, it was like a 12-inch blade. And I said, yeah, I want to have a 24-inch blade. I said, fuck it. So it was always like outdoing each other. And I think that was the fun of it all.
Yeah.
Iron sharpens iron.
It's great. It's great. Well, Arnold, thank you so much. One anecdote, I did actually meet you at one point in 2014. It's probably one of my favorite brushes with a celebrity story that I tell. I saw you in Santa Monica outside of a hotel, and I asked you for a picture, and you smiled and said, sure, no problem, and then just didn't break stride and got right in your car. And I was like, that was the coolest thing ever. So we never got the picture, but it was awesome.
Well, I mean, but that's interesting because when I say, yes, you can take the picture, then you just go and have to take it.
Yeah.
People, because if you would stop every single time,
yes,
I can't get to my car.
Yes, it was right? Perfect.
So there's some people that get with the program right away, so they walk in front of me, have the camera out, and they just take a picture of us together as we walk, and then they get the picture.
Yeah.
But I mean, if people would say, oh, he didn't stop. Well, he didn't say stop.
Yeah.
You say, can I take a picture? And I said, yes, you can take a picture. But he didn't say stop and take the picture, because otherwise I would have said, no, let's walk and take the picture. Yeah. You can do two at the same time.
Yeah. No, it was I loved it. I loved every second of it.
We'll do it the next time. The next time you come out here, I will not stop either, but I mean, it's just...
I'll run with you. Yeah.
We walk together.
Yeah.
Take the picture.
I really did, like, I told everyone it, and I was like, but that was the coolest thing ever, because he was, like, so effortless. So you were just like, sure, no problem, and just kept on going. I was like, that was awesome. I love Arnold.
That's funny. It's very funny.
All right, well,
anyway, it was great to talk to you guys. You're doing a great job. Keep it up, okay? And we do it again, hopefully.
Yes. We'll come visit you. We'll come and do it in person next time. Yes.
We'll get a workout in. How about that?
You come to Gold's Gym.
Yes. Done.
We do your show out of Gold's Gym.
I love it. We absolutely will do it. Yes.
I'm in 100%.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Arnold. Okay, let's wrap up with Firefest of the Week. Brought to you by our friends at Roback. PFT's wearing the Roback hoodie right now. Roback.com, promo code TAKE. Use it right now. 20% off your first purchase. Cuses, polos, hoodies, joggers, shorts, everything. Roback.com. It is the best clothes out there, most comfortable clothes out there. Roback.com, promo code TAKE. So my Roback question of the week is, PFT, what's your Firefest?
Oh, good question. My Firefest of the week is, I've been on an extended trip here. I went home, Northern Virginia for Christmas. Now I'm out in Arizona. Been traveling around a lot, driving, staying in different places. I packed at the last minute when I left initially to go to Virginia. I thought I threw in everything that I needed for this trip, but you know as well as I do, when you pack for a trip, you always forget one item. What would be the one item that you would want to make doubly sure that you packed enough of?
Underwear.
Underwear. Yeah, correct. Underwear. I believe I packed like 5 pairs of underwear, and I just grabbed a whole bunch of them. I was like, this seems like the right amount of underwear. So as of right now, as I'm speaking, I'm out of underwear. So I have to try to go find some more underwear tomorrow to buy. That's been a pain in the ass. And also I realized on this trip just how out of shape I am. And I'm going to chalk some of it up to altitude, because I went up to the Grand Canyon a couple of days ago, did a hike. Grand Canyon, fantastic. Awesome. 5 stars, 5 balls. Tremendous review for the Grand Canyon. Great job, God. I did a 4-mile hike. So you go down, and I went down about 2 miles, and I was like, oh, this is pretty easy. 2 miles, this is nothing. I'm barely even sweating right now. And then I turned around and started to walk back up. And after about, I'd say 30 seconds, I realized what a big mistake I'd made. Not factoring that going uphill is going to be way, way harder than going downhill.
Mm-hmm.
So my lower body has completely revolted against my upper body, and it's sore like first day of squat sore. So I'm in bad physical shape right now, but I also did get to say to myself, well, I can eat whatever I want. So I'm going to eat a bunch of steak, get that protein in. So I'm out of shape. And then I'm also getting fatter because I'm eating more, because I think that I just worked out, when in reality I did a normal workout. And now I'm like, oh, that was such a hard workout that now I get to treat myself. So yeah, double whammy.
That is a double whammy. I have a reverse for you for the underwear thing. And this shouldn't be a complaint, but it is, because I'm just going to complain about it. I'm also in Arizona, and I took my family down here for the week, because I was like, if I have to work during Christmas, New Year's week, like, I don't want to be away from my family for a whole week when we have a week off. So we're all down here, and we got here, and there's a washer and dryer in the place that I rented. That's also a really bad feeling, because being like, I could have just worn the clothes I wore. I could have just not packed. I would have just not packed.
Yeah.
I overpacked by so much, because I'm a simple guy. Like, I could have done a backpack, and I would have just done the laundry like twice. That would have been fine.
You do a load every night.
Yeah. But really, if you have a washer and dryer, you need maybe 3 pairs of underwear, and then like 1 pair of pants and like 2 sweatshirts, and you're good.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's very true. I've thought about doing the hotel laundry concierge thing, and then you look at the price for those, and it's like I could do like 4 days of laundry, and that's going to run me like $200.
Yeah, you could just buy new underwear for life.
I'm going to buy new underwear, or at the very least turn the ones that I have inside out.
Yeah, no problem. All right, my Fyre Fest it's something that happens every time around this year, but it is going to be January 1st. And diet does start on Tuesday, and then PFT I don't know if you've thought about this, but I have the double whammy of our birthday month is coming up, and it's our last birthday in our 30s. And I am trying to tell myself that when I turn 4, I have to turn 40 in good shape, in the best shape of my life. Yeah. So this is this is basically diet starts tomorrow, like on steroids. It's everything.
Your life starts tomorrow.
My life starts tomorrow. Like, I've told myself I'm going to turn 40 when I turn 40, and we're not turning 40 for another 13 months. So people, please don't say that we're 40 at the end of January this year. But when I turn 40, I would like to be in good shape, because I feel like once you turn 40, it's like what shape you're in at 40 is what shape you're going to be in for the next 20 years. I know that doesn't make sense, but that's just what I've told myself. So I'm going to put in a very concerted effort starting on Tuesday. I want everyone to please be, supportive of me. Max and I have a lifting plan we're going to get into. Max, we're doing that. We're actually going to start that Monday, Max, just so you know.
Love it.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll be there in time Monday, but Tuesday.
All right, we're going to start Tuesday. We'll start Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, Tuesday we're in. That's fine.
Let's not go ahead of schedule here.
That's fine.
So
You're right.
I've kind of taken a little bit of the opposite approach to it, where I've always thought that nothing that you do before you're 40 really matters. So once you're 40, you're an adult, and you're right. Like, if you turn 40 and you're not in good shape, nobody ever gets in great shape after they're 40, unless they're 1, divorced, or 2, like a former funny chubby actor. that then converts into being like a superhero actor. And then you can get in really good shape. But besides that, you don't really clean your life up that much in terms of your physique. But I also just think that like when you're 40, that's when you're grown up. That's when your health starts to matter to you. So I look at my 39th year as being like, this is the last hurrah. Like get it all out of your, do all the drugs in the next year. And then you turn 40 and then boom, adult.
Okay. All right. Maybe I'll go with that method. I feel like okay. Yeah. I like that better. I like
it's easier,
better.
Right? Like we're still kids, Big Cat.
We are still kids. We could still get arrested and people would be like, well, they're just kids.
Yeah. They're just rascals. We have one more year of being a rascal.
I remember I had a buddy who got arrested when we were like maybe 23. And it was just like, we're not kids anymore. you can't get arrested in your 20s and be like, it's just kids being kids. The type of crime really matters. You can't get like a drunk in public after you're 30. Yeah.
But if you're in your 20s, then it's like, okay, they're still figuring out how all that works. But I'm just going to tell myself I got one more year being a kid, just a kid.
By the way, before we kick to the lottery ball, we got breaking news. So our aforementioned friend Sam Schwarzenegger just sent us a video, PFT, of a drunk Browns fan leaving the stadium, and his customized jersey is skid mark. So I just tweeted, and I don't know where this guy is. I don't know where, like what his life is about, but I just tweeted that if the Browns get to the Super Bowl, skid mark is getting one of the tickets from me and you.
Okay, that's fair.
I think that's
it'll
fair.
Probably
That's
be
one
skid
of the
mark.
tickets.
It'll be skid mark and that other drunk Browns.
And the drunk guy, yes, skid mark. And the drunk guy.
And what makes this video?
And a lot of people tweet me the Leo meme on Tuesday when they're like, when you said the drunk Browns fan is getting a ticket.
What makes this video so much better is that he's being carried by his buddy rocking a Trent Richardson jersey.
Yes. Oh man, skid mark Browns fans rule. Congrats to the Browns in the playoffs. Okay. That was the conclusion of the Zoom show. We'll see everyone back in studio on Tuesday. We'll have a show. So we're going to recap everything from the weekend. Please do tune into the Barstool Arizona Bowl on Saturday. And thank you for everyone for being patient with a couple Zoom shows. We don't love to do them, but we had to do them this week. So we did tape a lottery ball. So we have a lottery ball. So let's kick it to ourselves with the lottery ball. Okay. Last of the year. Numbers
8,
18,
40, 71,
20,
3,
28. Pug.
28 pug.
Give me that 8. Give me that 8.
Long wait here. It's like the ball waiting for the ball to drop. Fitting.
10, 9, 8,
7,
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hank Starry's name was on the Epstein list.
9.
Oh,
9.
Pug.
That was thrilling.
I like that.
Love you guys.
See you next year.